tryna make it. Too many people, they don't let me down. But I keep it real, no time for hating. I'm always on that PC tryna shape my sound. See, I'm just tryna make it. I've got some people, I cannot let it down. Aiming for the top of the mountain. Not there yet, but I've left the ground. Oh, I've left the ground. I'm just tryna make it, yeah, make it, yeah, yeah. Make it, yeah, make it, yeah, yeah. Oh, I've left the ground. I'm just tryna make it, yeah, make it, yeah, yeah. Make it, yeah, make it, yeah, yeah.
Don't tell me about me. Stop telling 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 me about me. I don't need you to tell me about me.
Man, welcome back. Play the music. We're gonna cream today, y'all. We're gonna cream today because we're gonna be talking about some shit that a lot of people don't want to hear. And I'm glad to talk about it because we gotta talk about reality, y'all. We gotta live in reality, man. I hope everybody's doing all right tonight, man. On your way in, as usual, man, hit that like, hit that subscribe, share the videos, turn them notices on. Make sure you click off. YouTube will turn them things off for you. I promise you, they will turn them off for you. So make sure y'all hit them things, man. I appreciate everybody tuning in, man. I have to cover these type of topics, y'all. I know we like the relationship videos. I know we like the cop videos. I know we like just different random videos, loyalty, stuff like that. But on a night like tonight, man, I gotta cover these because I don't know if people know it or not, but I got you going to hell in the handbasket. Yeah, just going to hell in the handbasket, y'all. And I'm sorry, got distracted. Y'all see it over there. Just in here for no reason. They didn't want to be in here for the whole time. As soon as I start recording, motherfucker running here. All right. But yeah, this country's going to hell in the handbasket, man. We got some issues in this country that we don't want to address. And it's only going to get worse until we, rip that Band-Aid off and actually address these issues, man. And one of the biggest ones that we have, y'all, is race. One of the biggest ones we have is race, y'all. So we're gonna have a conversation. I'm not gonna give it from the point of view as of an average black man in America. I'm gonna let, because don't nobody want to listen to black folks. We just be complaining, and I'm probably gonna get the opposite of these. Got to be liberal people. That's the opposite result when you can't blame it on a black person. But we're going to talk about an issue. We're going to have some college professors talk about this. And I want y'all to see the correlation. I truly want people to actually pay attention and listen. Try to learn and stop having your blinders on for a second, because this is an issue that's going to affect you. It's going to affect your kids. And we need to get past this, man, because right now, I don't know if a lot of people in America understand this, especially my Caucasian brothers and sisters. Y'all are only 58% of the population. You're about to be under 50%. And you already know what happens when you go underneath 50%. I would think you want to rectify the issues of the past and the current before that happens, because all the fears that you have in your heart of people doing to you what you think they think you've done to them, because I know that's how some people like to word it. They don't want to say the things that we have done to them, the things they think we've done to them. You might want to rectify before you get to that point, because it ain't fun when the rabbit get the gun. It ain't never fun when the rabbit get the gun. But we're gonna jump into it. Shout out to this channel. I gotta give a shout out to Evans from Kenya, man. Evans from Kenya. A lot of my Kenyans, I've been noticing y'all been jumping on YouTube, man, doing some content, man. I think y'all been doing some deep studying about American culture, man. And I appreciate it, man. Doing deep dives, finding things for me. And we got Red up in the building. Salute the Red. And I don't know who said turn that shit down, so I ain't gonna say who that is. But either way, though, y'all, let's go ahead and jump into it. Get your popcorn, get your cigarettes, get your weed, get whatever you need, because we about to get it popping. And the link is down there just in case anybody wants to throw in their opinion. But yep, let's get it, baby.
Trayvon Martin was a black 17-year-old who was killed by a man named George Zimmerman on a Sunday night in February of 2012 while walking back to his father's house in Florida. Trayvon's death and Zimmerman's murder trial both received extensive media attention, most of which centered around Zimmerman's possible motivations and Trayvon's character. Most media focused on the micro details to explain what happened, instead of focusing on the larger structural forces that set the stage for this tragedy. Behind me is a cover that People magazine ran after Trayvon's death, and I want to direct your attention to the subtitle in the bottom left, which I've reprinted next to the cover. It reads, quote, "An unarmed 17-year-old is killed in a Florida neighborhood. How a chance encounter turned deadly, leaving a family devastated and a country outraged." Now, that caption may seem totally innocuous to you, but we actually think that it's hugely significant because it captures the core framing, the nearly universal common sense thinking about this case and recent others like it. People magazine called the confrontation between Trayvon Martin and George Zimmerman a chance encounter. And in some ways this is true, but on another level, this encounter wasn't random at all. What I want to illuminate for you today is that despite widespread media framing that suggested otherwise, the deadly encounter between Trayvon and Zimmerman was significantly shaped by structural racism. I want to talk in particular about how structural racism and the ideas about Black people that justify it shaped their encounter in three key areas.
If you're living in a neighborhood that's less than 20% Black, whites will move into that neighborhood, fewer than 20%. So that's a good thing. But any more than 20%, and the first thing that happens is whites stop moving in. So it could be 22 to 25%. They did a tremendous study. This comes from a book called American Apartheid by Massey and Denton, two very distinguished sociologists, won many awards. If it's more than 30%, whites sell their homes and move out. As you can see, if you think about this process creates segregation in and of itself. So it doesn't take long that when whites stop moving in, other people somebody moves in, it ends up being non-whites, the neighborhood eventually becomes all people of color. So this process can happen individually. People make their individual choice, but what happens? They actually produce it. And that means there's a deep investment in not being caught in this bigger than 30% neighborhood, because we know what the economic consequences that the market produces will be. So as you can see here, just in this brief schematic sense, that this is a normalized, legitimized project that happens historically and interpersonally and institutionally that routinely advantages whites by providing cumulative and chronic adverse outcomes.
We've all heard the buzzwords: systemic racism, institutional bias, but what really goes on behind those phrases? You know, the stuff that doesn't make the nightly news, but shapes lives every single day. Think about it. We see the protests, we read the statistics, but are we truly grasping the how and the why of persistent racial inequality? It's like trying to understand a building's blueprint by only looking at its facade. That's where Trisha Rose comes in. She's not just another talking head. She's a cultural critic, a scholar, and a truth teller who cuts through the noise and gets down to the nitty-gritty of how structural racism actually works. And trust me, once you see it, you can't unsee it. In her powerful video, Rose pulls back the curtain, revealing the intricate web of policies and practices that perpetuate racial disparities. Forget the easy answers and the surface-level explanations. She digs deep, exposing the hidden mechanisms that maintain the status quo. Ever wonder why certain neighborhoods are consistently underfunded, or why the criminal justice system seems to target specific communities? It's not a coincidence, folks. It's the result of a system designed to maintain inequality. Rose doesn't just point fingers. She provides a framework for understanding. She connects the dots between housing, education, criminal justice, and wealth accumulation, showing how these seemingly disparate areas are interconnected and reinforce each other. She challenges the comfortable narrative of colorblindness, that well-meaning but ultimately damaging idea that if we just ignore race, everything will magically even out. Spoiler alert, it won't. She explains why colorblind is actually blind to reality. Imagine understanding the why behind the headlines, the how behind the statistics. That's what Rose delivers. She equips you with the knowledge to see the world in a new light, to recognize the invisible walls that hold people back. She's not just talking theory. She's talking about the very real, tangible consequences of structural racism, the kind of consequences that affect your neighbors, your communities, and maybe even you. This video isn't just an academic exercise. It's a call to action. It's an invitation to join a conversation that's long overdue. So, are you ready to see the bigger picture? Are you ready to go beyond the sound bites and understand the architecture of inequality? Then you need to watch Trisha Rose. Her insights will change the way you see the world. And honestly, they might just change the world. Get ready to have your understanding challenged. Get ready to have those aha moments. Get ready to understand how structural racism works, and believe me, you'll want to share this one. Let's dive right into it.
So what is
And before she goes deep into it, because they gave you a quick little spin up, real quick little spin up. I want people to truly be open-minded about what's about to be said, because there's always this issue of never being able to solve this issue because there's always pushback. People feel some type of way personally about these things. A lot of people say, well, I didn't do this. That's not me. This didn't happen in my generation. She's going to entwine and show you. She's really going to connect the dots and show a lot of y'all folks that say that all the time, how you contribute to the problem. How everybody contributes to it. Not just white folks, black folks contribute to it, Asian folks, Indian folks, pretty much anybody in America contributes to this problem to keep certain people in certain places, to uphold certain people in certain places. Really pay attention. And I know I'm gonna have some poor whites that come around here and be like, well, I'm poor and I'm white. You're just not taking advantage of your privilege. Yeah. That's pretty much what that comes down to. You're not taking advantage of your privilege, so don't try to say because you're here that this doesn't exist. You're just not taking advantage of it, and your people are possibly holding you back from taking advantage of it too. But I want y'all to pay attention. I want y'all to listen hard, have an open mind, because this problem needs to get solved. And maybe if it's explained, people might understand a little bit better. Shout out to Op. He said implicit bias. Yeah, a lot of us have it, and that's not specific to just white people. Of having implicit bias. It's not. We got coons running around here everywhere. That's what we call them in the black community. But either way though, let's get it, man. Let's get it popping.
structural racism before we can figure out how it works? So this is my operative definition. They share many of these traits. And the basic definition is that structural racism in the United States is the normalization and legitimization of an array of dynamics, historical, cultural, institutional, and interpersonal, that routinely advantage whites while producing cumulative and chronic adverse outcomes for people of color. Now, these words are long and the definition may seem long, but it's important because they're key. If you look at, there's a couple of key words before we move along. Normalization. Normalization means that structural racism is built into the everyday practice. We're not talking about exceptional behavior, individual bad attitudes. We're not talking about the occasional negatively intentional policy. We're really talking about a process that happens in a normal everyday way, that goes on as part of our air that we breathe, but that is often quite invisible to us, not all of us, but to some of us. But it's important that it can go on while we're sleeping, while we're fighting for justice, while we're doing whatever we're doing. Legitimization is important because we legitimize institutions, and I'm going to talk later about how this happens, that are actually functioning in structurally racist ways. The outcomes are clearly producing dramatic, cumulative, and chronic adverse outcomes, and they nonetheless have quite legitimacy. They have a lot of legitimacy. This is not something that is marginal, again, and on the side. The second piece of the definition that's really important is that Structural racism is not just the past that has a legacy that's waning in the present. It has present formulation. So it's historical, yes, but it's also present tense. There are cultural elements to it. That means it has to do with the way we talk about race that help produce it. It's not just policies, but it is institutions and policies. We see it in government policy. We see it in corporations and their policies. We see it in educational institutions. And of course, it is also interpersonal. And by interpersonal, I don't just mean sort of screaming people at the Walmart, which seems to be a new problem we're having in the United States. But it does mean that, right? Because that's part of it. But it also means the ways in which we interact and the ways in which we create relationships with one another. So our project is really, it started as, as many things in my life academically have started, which is something that seems like I should be able to do it quickly and then takes like forever. So this is one of those, I can just explain structural racism to everyday people doing a multimedia project with a couple of videos, put them online on YouTube, pull up a website, do some research, bam, we'll be all set, 6 months. Okay, 2 years later, we're standing here in front of you, like really still working it out for a lot of different reasons, but we feel more and more convinced about the importance.
And the number one reason why we're still here having to explain this stuff and try to get people to come around to understanding what they're actually doing without knowing that they're doing it is because people feel some personal inner belief that it's not me, even though it might be me. And I don't want to be called out for anything. A lot of people feel that way. A lot of people do not want to be told that they're doing something wrong. So instead of accepting that you're doing something wrong and changing your behavior, and changing what you contribute to, you rather would just gaslight and lash out at other people. And that's what we have a big part of America doing. They've been lashing out for a good couple of years, knowing good and well they see what the fuck's going on. They know what it is.
Of the project and the importance of these areas. So what's happened for us is that we're trying to.
Oh, and also real quick, like for all the people that says that I didn't get anything, that wasn't me, I didn't benefit from that, blah, 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 whoop, whoop, you're going to see exactly how you benefit. Because I'll say this all the time. We say it to women when we have the male versus women conversation, but I'm going to say it to when it pertains to this situation. Privilege is invisible, y'all, to those who have it. I'm going to say it one more time. Privilege is invisible to those who have it. And she's going to explain the privilege that you don't seem to know that you have. But I think implicitly you do.
Focus on these 5 critical areas where structural racism is highly dynamic and consequential. There are others, so don't even worry about asking me that. There are definitely others than these 5, but these 5 really apply to all of us in here. Hopefully not criminal justice, but if not, then that may itself be part of the puzzle, right? If you've never had a brush with the law. But the others for sure, housing, education, mass media, wealth, and jobs are just critical fundamental anchors. The outcomes in these areas determine fundamentally the quality of life, the sense of safety and security, and the opportunity that our citizens in this country have. So I want to lay it out this way for a moment, because this is usually how we talk about it. We talk about wealth, we talk about housing, we talk about media, whether it's representation and images of people of color or African Americans, which is the group we're going to mainly focus on, whether it's educational outcomes or the criminal justice system. We tend to look at these things in isolation from one another. And this is not a bad idea when we want to drill down, because if you want to look at the significance of, say, racialized wealth inequality, which is dramatic, and I'll point that out in a moment, you want to figure out why and how. So you have to go down and into it, right? You have to keep moving in more deeply. But at the same time, it's extremely important to think about how these gears, as we're thinking of them, work together. And they are actually not operating in a single sphere way, that there are interlocking effects. And this is key to our argument. This is key to our approach, that we think about how various aspects of society produce structural inequalities in ways that are interdependent, interactive, and compounding. And this is extremely important because, again, if we find a disparity in, say, job discrimination or unemployment, there's a tendency to say, well, if we just fix that, we're good, right? But if you look at the interlocking effects and you come to the realization that in any one sphere, you have discrimination and inequality, past, present, and in policy and in thinking, and it's really driving inequality in other areas, you can't possibly think in a single sphere way to solve any given problem that we're dealing with.
Y'all see that picture that she has up there? Each one of these different sectors is a gear, but all of them gears spinning make all of those gears spin. They all entwine, they all work together. Fixing one ain't gonna solve the problem. You gotta fix it all. You have to. And it's a big problem. Look. It took a lot to build it, It's gonna take a lot to tear it down.
With. So we're making an argument that it's not just structural in the big picture sense in isolated ways, but it's interlocking and interdependent. So this whole talk could be statistics of data, and we're not going to do that. I'm going to give you just a thimble fill of it, but I'm going to assume that many of you have been paying attention to these issues. Otherwise, you wouldn't have roused yourself probably at 7:30 in the morning to come here to listen to me talk about it if it was completely unfamiliar to you. So just very quickly, Black unemployment today is worse than it was in 1964, but more importantly, it hovers at twice the white unemployment rate pretty much all the time. And I want to draw your attention very quickly to the Great Recession, when unemployment rates for whites was around 9 or 10, sometimes 11%, and it was a national catastrophe, crisis. How can we survive 10 or 11%? Well, Black unemployment hovers at 12 to 15% all the time, and was 19% during that recession. So if you want to figure out how to survive that crisis, we have people to talk to.
And I'll tell you, that's why a lot of people are like surprised with, Trump fucking up the economy, regardless of y'all that want to support him and say that he's doing great. He's fucking up the economy. A lot of people wonder why Black folks are not freaking out and losing their minds. We're used to not having shit, or we're used to having less than what you are accustomed to. We ain't gonna freak out on this. We been here, done this, got the t-shirts. We'll do it again. Yeah. Probably should come holler at us. And I know some people be doing that shit. They be trying to figure out how you buy groceries for the whole house, man, with not that much money. It's like, girl, let me show you something.
Schools. School segregation has gotten worse since the early 1990s. And that segregation is driven really by housing segregation, which I'm going to talk about in a moment. But what's important too is that due to a variety of structural conditions, largely in housing and elsewhere, the more homogeneous a Black school gets, and the less white it gets, the poorer it gets. So race is an indicator also of economic disadvantage as it plays out in schools and elsewhere. Now,
And I want y'all to really lock on to that one, y'all. Lock on to that one. As blacker the community gets, the poorer it gets. Now, if I ask the question right now, why do y'all think that is? The people that don't understand the racism and the systems in our country will say it's because them Black people lazy, they don't want to work. Been saying that for the longest. The people that helped build this entire country by producing the GDP that this country used to become the superpower that it is, those people are fucking lazy. Now that they're free, they're lazy. But when we had them enslaved, there were some hard-ass working motherfuckers. We fought a war over these motherfuckers. But now they magically got lazy. It's gonna play a big part later on. Listen to her very carefully, man. Listen to her very carefully. And people say, oh, this is liberal class in college. But if you want to say that, look, you're a lost soul. Try to understand what the fuck's coming out of her mouth, because it'll make sense to you when you hear it. Because the sad part, we all see it every day. We just choose to ignore it. Open your eyes and stop ignoring it.
Criminal justice is a huge sphere, and we could talk about many things, but there are a couple of key things. One is that for the past 30 years, we have quadrupled the number of people in prison, mostly from drug arrests. Number one, Blacks are jailed at 6 times the rates of whites, despite the fact that whites use and sell drugs at a higher rate. I know you may find that hard to believe. If you follow mass media and news reports and the sense, you'd think that all African Americans do is sell, buy, and consume drugs in the United States. So if you actually think about the consequences of this would mean that we couldn't have, if we followed who's actually doing the drugs, we couldn't possibly have the disparity that we have. But we have a policing process that confirms and looks for and seeks out and finds the drugs that we're looking for in segregated neighborhoods. And
that's that shit that Lil Wayne used to say in a music video. It was like, well, the police riding around in the hood all day. What you think they gonna find? You riding around in the hood. If I rode around in Chinatown all day looking for crime, I'm pretty sure I'm gonna find some crime in Chinatown. But the police ride around in Black neighborhoods all the time. And we are more segregated now than we were back in the 1960s. We have more people in bondage now than we did back in slavery time. The people who designed this shit, the people who shaped this, the people who cultivated this, these so-called founding fathers that a lot of y'all seem to want to love and celebrate, these were some evil-ass people that schemed up something, but they did it in a way where it's good for their people. But I wouldn't want to have my name attached to something that does another group of people wrong to benefit mine. I wouldn't want to be on that type of side. I'd rather out-compete you. I feel better that way. I'd rather beat you fair and square than steal from you. But you know what they say? If you ain't cheating, you ain't trying hard enough. Guess who I heard that from?
And then another key point is that we do not sentence blacks and whites for the same crimes equally. Blacks receive longer sentences for the same crimes. And this is on top of the fact that whites are not likely to be charged with crimes in the first place. So that longer sentence plays out even more significantly. Wealth is a massively significant component of the process of structural racism. But just since the 1980s, the black-white wealth gap has quadrupled. And the gap at this point is roughly $11,000 in wealth for African Americans to $142K on average, the median wealth for white families. That is a staggering gap that no.
Hey man, it's because them blacks are staggeringly lazy. That's the simplest. I heard so many people say that shit before in my life, and I'm like, that's a real simple way to try to answer that question or make sense of that question. Yeah, them blacks are just lazy. You work with them every fucking day. They just lazy. Okay.
No amount of hard work will breach. It just simply will not be closed with hard work. Key points to keep in mind about structural racism overall. One is that we do not have to be aware of it or any of these factors in order for the system to work. Two, it's fueled by and relies on racial ideas and stereotypes to perpetuate outcomes. And this is important because I'm going to show how the way we think about race and those stereotypes we activate and the unconscious bias we activate actually produces the outcomes in the material world.
And black people, just throwing that out there because we gotta make sure we be honest across the board. That affects us too. Those stereotypes, we carry them too. We carry them too.
And whether, and this is important because changing policy by itself won't change necessarily what's going on unless we tackle ideas. And they matter because they really hide structural racism right in front of us. And I'm going to give you an example. And the most important thing, though, is that we can know ourselves to be unracist in every bone in our body and still be functionally deeply advantaged by this system and participate in it all the time. This is a difficult thing to really confront because we've talked about ourselves as Americans as having transcended this kind of racial outcome and investment since the 1960s. That's been our main story, that we're now a meritocracy, that we've ended structural barriers, that we're post-race. I know right now this seems like a weird old school fantasy that we thought, I know. I didn't believe it when it was said. I saw this kind of thing coming. It was like, oh no, this isn't going to be pretty. But what did most people think? Oh my gosh, we've got one African American, sort of. We have half an African American in the White House. How exciting, and this month, everything's gone. Structural racism, poof, magic. But discriminatory outcomes do not.
Kim Scott. And I heard a lot of white people say that. How can I be racist? I voted for Obama. What? It's like saying I got a black friend.
Not have to rely on racist or discriminatory intentions. So how is structural racism made invisible? The first is this obsession with the illusion of meritocracy. Now, let me first say that the fact that we do not have a meritocracy, in my opinion, does not mean that people don't deserve good jobs, that they haven't worked hard, that they're not smart. It means that the system is structured for some people's hard work to matter a lot more than other people's hard work, and therefore it's not a functional meritocracy. If the meritocracy is that rewards in society go naturally to those who are the best performers, and that positions or achievements of individuals depend on their abilities and effort, and does not depend on class, race, or other group advantages, then obviously we're not a functional meritocracy.
Pause right there for a second.
You're goddamn right.
And that's the funniest issue because that was one of the biggest things that this new administration was talking about. We want to promote meritocracy. We want to hire the best people for the job, and then hire a whole bunch of motherfuckers that ain't even got no experience doing the job. We do not live in a meritocracy, y'all. It's who you know. It ain't what you know. If people ain't heard that saying before, it ain't what you know, it's who you know. And the people that are on the end have the access. They control it. And they do control it. We don't live in no meritocracy. It ain't about how hard you work. People told you that. We all grew up hearing that dumb shit. You work hard, it's gonna pay off. You work hard, you're gonna get to what you want to do. Just pull yourself up by your bootstraps and just work hard. Hard work pays off. No, the fuck it does not. Some people's work matters more than yours, no matter what you do. A good example would be a worker that comes in for 20 years straight, working on an assembly line, making sure he catches every default in a car. So none of these cars that come out of this factory goes and harms somebody, you don't have to worry about a recall or something bad happening. Compared to a CEO's work where he just comes in and just supervises and looks over things. His work at the top doing a whole lot fucking less matters more than that person that comes in and clocks those hours and put in that dedication and time. We do not live in a meritocracy. Y'all see it every day. Yeah, some of y'all might have managers that are pieces of shit. And you be like, how the fuck they got that job? They do not know how to do their job. I work way harder than them, but they got that job. Oh, you want to be on camera? Oh, I'm sorry. This motherfucker won't be on camera. Let's go.
We have lots of merit. We try, but we do functionally fail. And this is very important to confront because it is the myth of this meritocracy that actually helps drive our misguided thinking about race in the first place. So inside of the meritocracy myth is the belief that we ended racism with the civil rights movement. Lawrence Bobo, a political scientist at Harvard, has done lots of attitude studies, and one of them shows that over 60% of whites think that we've reached racial equality now. I could be like, right now. TikTok still, right now. And 20% say it's coming soon. So that's 80%. It's a little higher. I actually brought it down to an even number. It's more like 83%. 16% of blacks think that we've reached racial equality, but 32% think we're going to get there, which just speaks to the hopefulness of people of African descent, because there's not a ton of evidence of us getting there soon. I told you needed to have caffeine for this situation, right? I did warn you. I gave you a heads up. It's not pretty data. But this perception really matters because if we believe that racism ended with the civil rights movement and we're mostly just cleaning up a few kind of leftover vestiges of these problems, then when we find deep disparity, right, it contributes to alternative explanations. We don't say, oh yeah, structural racism, because it's not in our parlance, it's not our understanding. We come up with various types of, mechanisms to compensate. One of my favorites is the anomalies. Well, yes, over here, but I know a guy who hired 5 African Americans. I'm like, oh, that's fantastic. Are we going to solve this one man's job hiring program at a time? I don't think so. Or a one bad apple thesis. This comes up a lot with police, right? That, one bad cop, some evil bad cop, as if he could function without a whole culture around him to enable it.
That part right there. That part right there.
That ain't right. That ain't right. It ain't right.
All my cop defenders love saying that dumbass shit. One bad apple. How the fuck can that one bad apple operate in the system of all these just people? You would think that these just people would stop that bad apple from acting bad. And people say, well, you only did it one time. That's the reason why. And then you look at the cops' records and I'm like, nah, they've been doing this shit for years. They've been doing this shit for years, bro. Motherfucker been a cop since the 90s. Still been fucking people up. Finally got caught in 2025. But been doing it since the 90s. No. It's not operating in a system that's just. It's operating in a system that allows it. That's the issue. People need to pay attention. Open your eyes.
So what remains? If it's the case, this is not the case, but this is a false proof I'm setting up. If no or few structural impediments exist, then why do we have such disparate outcomes? The answer becomes behavior, and this idea that individual behavior or collective Black cultural practices produce disparate outcomes like this across all major aspects of society, this activates and relies on a deep well of stereotypes and bias. You guys following me? Am I going too fast?
And for y'all in the back that ain't following, saying the reason, and this is the excuse that a lot of people come up with for why Black people are behind so much financially or in society as a whole, the way they carry themselves, the way they behave. If they didn't behave that way, they would be ahead. It's a stereotype. Because the sad part is you put a hyper-focused lens on our community, and the fucked up shit is I can find, if not worse, the damn sure same behavior in other communities, every community. But they highlight it in ours to justify why we're in the place that we are, instead of actually focusing on what's actually going on.
Excellent. You guys are perfect Brown students. All right. So let me give you a quick example. Unemployment rates, labor force, Census Bureau, 2010. I told you before, it's often twice. Here's your evidence. 8.7% for non-Hispanic whites unemployment, 12.5% for Hispanics, 16% for Blacks. It was 2010. That was a little bit higher than your average because it was 2010. If you recall, that was not a pretty time, but it's pretty much double. As I said, it always is. How do we explain it? If you're giving a structural analysis, you're going to explain this by looking at housing discrimination, which is there are many, many studies, and if we were approaching this as my own 50-minute talk, I would go into some of these, but there's tremendous evidence for significant hiring discrimination, even at entry-level jobs. There's profoundly limited accessible opportunities based on distance, transportation, and housing, segregation and isolation, and social networks. Almost all jobs are social networks. I know a guy, which is a Rhode Island thing, but everybody uses it. I know a guy who can do that. Oh yeah? Well, you trust me, so you trust the guy I say. So ask what percentage of white social networks constitute Black people? If you're white, what percentage of your social networks is Black?
I would love for people to ask that question. As a matter of fact, I actually want to ask Red that question. Well, actually, Red, I bet money your social networks a lot of Blacks. Well, you know, at least the way you carry yourself, but probably not. I don't know. But the question she's placed on the board for all of us to look at: what percentage of white folks' social network is Black people? 1%, 2%, 3%, 50%, 100%. What social network? Like my social network is probably about 85% Black. 85% Black. The other 15% I deal with white folks. And Red said his is 100%. All right. I got one white person answering that. 100%. I want y'all to see something. I want you to know what the actual number is in America for the majority. She's gonna give it in a second.
Shout it out like the kids. 5%. Anyone, give me one more number. 30%. Very optimistic. Amen. That's the number. You do math? Because that came out as perfect. But you have what I call intuitive math, which is what I have. I don't have real math either. 1%. 1%. Okay, that's rather significant. But what do we hear all the time in the news? Now, a lot of these stereotypes apply not.
And y'all heard that, right? 1% of white folks, 1% of their social network on average includes Black people. So if you don't really be around a lot of Black people, I just want y'all to watch this. She's gonna make it make sense to you. 1%, remember that.
Just African Americans, we're just gonna have to, okay, all right. Not just African Americans, but they specifically get reinforced around Black people and Black culture. They're lazy, they don't wanna work hard, that lacks discipline, lacks proper values, prefer handouts. Paul Ryan's report on poverty made this argument consistently and, you know, all over the place. It didn't say that there was any kind of discrimination, only behavior. So I want to move to the question of crime because it's important to understand how pivotal and what a linchpin the idea of African Americans as fundamentally criminal drives a variety of spaces and circumstances. A report by the Sentencing Project was specifically looking at perceptions of crime and the ways in which it produces not only criminal justice outcomes, but other kinds of outcomes. And I want to just draw your attention to the fact that I'm talking here about conscious stereotypes and unconscious bias. These are two different spaces, but they're both important. So there's things people say that they think to be true, and then there are things that we don't even know about. 80% of our brain is completely inaccessible to us. I don't know what's going on down there in that basement, but it's pretty heavy. One of the things going on is a deep belief that Black people are more criminal. And this starts really with the moment of
Hey, Red, I believe you. Red said that's just how people form social networks geographically. I'm the 1% in a lot of Black people's lives too. You're gonna find out why. You might not like the outcome of finding out why, but you'll find out why in this video. And it's not just by happenstance. She's gonna explain to you that that's not by happenstance. You are where you are for a reason. And she's gonna explain why.
Emancipation. As soon as slavery ends, during slavery, Black people are not criminal, but magically, as soon as they're free, they're pretty dangerous and problematic. Well, recent studies, though, show that whites overestimate the actual share of burglaries, illegal drug sales, and juvenile crime committed by African Americans by 20 to 30%. This pattern is confirmed in widespread implicit bias research. Media crime coverage reinforces this bias. There's many, many reports that show that the way Black criminals are portrayed, the emphasis on crimes that are more likely to be done by Blacks but not by others, produce a reinforced relationship between Black people and crime in the psyche. It's reinforced by higher sales and status for movies, music, and art that revolves around African Americans' criminal behavior and character. My own work on hip hop, I talk a lot about this, that artists that don't talk about being a gangster do not sell as well. And it's not just because those stories are more exciting, it's because they fulfill a conscious and unconscious sense of authenticity about what Black people are really supposed to be.
I know y'all heard that shit. I know some people gonna
Like I
say
saw the logo.
Accusations.
These are not accusations. This is
False accusations.
And
a lot of us say that. We have all caught ourselves. And that's why I said, black folks, this applies to us too. Because I notice the type of music I listen to. People say, man, turn that soft ass shit off. I be playing shit. I like R&B. I like shit that I can listen to real words. Like if you rapping, like please be talking about something. And I'll play that shit and people like, we want to hear that soft ass shit. It perpetuates. Black people, we contribute to this. If you ain't talking about fucking bitches and selling drugs and dancing outside of Planned Parenthood and shit, you're not gonna sell as well as a motherfucker that's talking about some real ass shit. You're not. We perpetuate the stereotype. And the stereotype is, this is what a black artist should be. Think about that. This is what black people are like. Think about it. Implicit bias, y'all. Stereotypes. They playing a part. Just keep watching.
And it justifies draconian policing policies. And most important for what I want to do next, it
Super
drives
Negro.
housing and schooling decisions. So I don't have time to go into this at the depth that I wanted to, but this is, if you take the housing gear, you will see that there are lots of policies, past and present, that have had a deep impact on what we have always seen in the housing arena, which is significant segregation and significant economic disempowerment. And I would love to give you an hour-long lecture on all of these, but I want to just very quickly focus on, for the moment, the pivotal nature of a process called redlining. How many of you know what redlining is? Excellent.
Privilege you have that you don't even know. Privilege is invisible to those who have it. People talk about wealth in this country. She about to break it down real quick, like, because a lot of people obviously don't know about redlining, and you don't know the significance that it played in today's society. And see, Red said, but it's reinforced by black people and record labels supporting the degenerate rappers. Yeah, black people support it, white people support it, Asian people support it. Everybody supports the music because we can't sit here and act like other races don't listen to hip hop. We can't sit here and say that. So you can't just say black people. It's everybody. Black people do play a part in that too, though. They got it. They have their onus to it, but it's everybody. And the people that own the record labels, you already know who owns the record labels. So at the end of the day, ultimately, majority of the percentage of the problem doesn't land with us, but we do play a part into it. I can say that till the cows come home. I have no issue with that. Black people play a big part in everything that's going on, but we don't control it. And everybody else got their hand in the game too. So we all need to work on it.
Excellent. I don't need to spend a lot of time on it. So just for the sake of just a couple of key factors here. One, it was a government policy, New Deal, so Democratic, so don't get all grumpy if you're a Democrat trying to blame somebody.
And I want y'all to hear this government policy. She did say something about the Democrats, so I'm gonna rewind it just so my people, our Republicans, can get that off their chest. But a government policy. So when people talk about reparations, y'all, you know, when we talk about reparations, oh, that was individual people doing things to you. No, these are government programs, government systems that did a specific thing. And that specific thing was to target a certain group of people and not allow them to move ahead. Watch this, because a lot of people don't know about redlining. They just get a gist of it. She's gonna break it down. And see, Op said they wouldn't sell as many records if only black people listened to that type of music. If I was on white people too and everyone else. Yeah. Like, and that's the crazy thing, because we don't make up that big of the population as black people. More white people listen to art, rap, and all that shit, hip hop, than black people do. Which is crazy. Like, a lot of people don't know that. Who buys records more? Mainly white people. Y'all consume our rap music more than we do. But y'all be talking, it's the music that got them bad. It's like, no, it's not the music. I see Red say, yeah, we know who owns the record labels. Yeah, we do. I like the wink, Red. So can't throw that on black folks. But I'm gonna let her say this again because she said Democrat. So for all my Republicans, they can at least get one off.
And I would love to give you an hour-long lecture on all of these, but I want to just very quickly focus on, for the moment, the pivotal nature of a process called redlining. How many of you know what redlining is? Excellent. I don't need to spend a lot of time on it. So just for the sake of just a couple of key factors here. One, it was a government policy, New Deal, so Democratic, so don't get all grumpy if you're a Democrat trying to blame somebody else. Democratic policy meant to help communities be funded for housing, was racially specific, and was a corporate collaboration, because this was a homeowner loan corporation founded by the government. Color-coded, created a system. Why we call it redlining is that neighborhoods that were considered red and a red perimeter around them were neighborhoods where any Black people lived, even only one, were marked in red, given the lowest rating on the system, and ruled completely ineligible for home or business loans. This goes on. I'm born well into, not too long before 77, but long enough to say that this is actually going on consistently across the country, uninterrupted. And this is just one piece of the puzzle, creating a number of factors that are extremely important. Not only is it starving Black communities of economic resources, it's elevating the whiter the community is. It's creating a financial incentive for white homogeneity. You following me? This is very important because it itself produces thinking about race. Because you're like, well, whiteness has value. Oh, that's right. Here's my white house, basically, in my white neighborhood, in my white schools. It's
Stop right here for a second. Now, Red, you got a college professor explaining it to you, and you come out the woodworks and say, not true. Most red line households were white. College professor giving you a slideshow with the data and the information. Who told you it was mostly white? That's that shit kicking in right now. That's that shit kicking in. I ain't saying you got to accept this shit to be the truth, but she's actually providing information to show why. But, you know, either way, though, we're going to keep going. That's very interesting that you said that.
It's more valuable. Of course, it's more valuable. It's more important. It's more valuable. And you've got a reciprocal process. So let me just this is the most important thing I want to have us think about today is this relationship. So redlining and other strategies that maintain segregation, they choked off the value of any investing in Black communities and suppressed the value of property. And in fact, gentrification as we know it today is impossible without the history of redlining and the destruction of value in poor communities that they themselves should have been able to access, but can't. And now others find the prices to be so cheap because this process of has been going on. So it created Black ghettos by redlining and constraining and segregating neighborhoods and creating asset reduction in those communities. It reinforced associations of Blackness with poverty and struggling community, artificially raised the value of white neighborhoods and a higher market value, which in turn fuels educational inequality and segregation. As we all know, we fund, for those of us who still send our kids to public schools, it's another racial and class effort to create segregation, but taxes fund our educational units, and therefore if you have higher property values for your house, you have more money for your schools. So there's an incentive to pass this on intergenerational wealth through education alone, not to mention passing on these homes to our children, which does what? Fund their college, weather financial crisis, weather health crises. If you don't have excellent health coverage for some reason and your child is doing, some entrepreneurship, right? You can cover their health. You can pay for it with second mortgages with that wealth gap that we talked about. $11,000 in assets to 142 on average.
On
so
average.
it rationalizes, I'm moving down to this one, it rationalizes white protectionism,
Hands up
protecting
now.
white neighborhoods as safer and profitable. It makes fear of Black people financially reasonable. It stigmatizes neighborhoods that are diverse, no matter how safe, friendly, or stable. It fuels white self-segregation and white flight. So I want to talk for a moment about white flight because I'm going to skip that slide because it plays out over and over again. It's not just a past and fixed creation. It's a pattern that we find reproducing itself. So this is going to come up in Sam's presentation. So I want to just very quickly show you that this whole logic, the perception, the bias, the history, the structures, the investments in whiteness have created a context in which 20% functions as a tipping point that initiates the process of white flight. If you're living in a neighborhood that's less than 20% Black, whites will move into that neighborhood, fewer than 20%. So that's a good thing. But any more than 20%, and the first thing that happens is whites stop moving in. So it could be 22 to 25%. They did a tremendous study. This comes from a book called American Apartheid by Massey and Denton, two very distinguished sociologists, won many awards. If it's more than 30%, whites sell their homes and move out. As you can see, if you think about this process creates segregation in and of itself. So it doesn't take long that when whites stop moving in, other people somebody moves in, it ends up being non-whites, the neighborhood eventually becomes all people of color. So this process can happen individually. People make their individual choice, but what happens? They actually produce it. And that means there's a deep investment in not being caught in this bigger than 30% neighborhood because we know what the economic consequences that the market produces will be. So as you can see here,
AKA, they're going to undervalue your home. If you live in a majority Black community, they're going to undervalue your home. When it comes to resale, it's not going to be worth this much. So you move into areas where there are white people. You can live in a house. Like I ride through certain areas in different cities all the time and see some of these black neighborhood homes. And I'm like, man, those houses were fixed up and shit. Like, even with them being fucked up the way they is, those bitches should be at least $200,000, $300,000. And when you look at them listed, it's like $85,000. But I can go to a similar white neighborhood, and them bitches broke down, bombed out, and depleted. Like, bitch, the roof ain't even on this motherfucker, and it's valued more than this 2-story house I just saw in the black community. They set it up for a reason. There you go. Red got something for me. He said, from the study race, risk, and emergence, federal redlining, blah, 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 blah. Whites account for about 85% of households in the red line neighborhoods. A book that said from the study, race, risk. Okay, I'll look into it, Red, to see if you're telling the truth. But either way, though, I got a college professor saying the opposite of it, and I'm going to take her word before I take yours, just being honest with you. I'm going to take her word before I take yours. And the sad part is you could actually flip that. Because you can just say, okay, yeah, we redlined the black people out. Well, you can just flip that and say, well, the white people got redlined out. Like, you gotta look. Stats are funny when you look at them. It's like 85%. That can make sense. They black people don't make up, but what, 13, 14, 15% of the population? I can see that. I can see that. But redline in what? The positive way or the negative way? Tell me what the book says on that. I want to know that. That'd be interesting. And see, I'm just gonna say, Killer said, the last time you seen a white person in a neighborhood and live with black people, and the young teenagers ask what the hell they're doing in the black neighborhood, that's why white people move out. You think so? You think so? That's why white people move out? Nah, I don't think so.
Here, just in this brief schematic sense, that this is a normalized, legitimized project that happens historically and interpersonally and institutionally that routinely advantages whites by providing cumulative and chronic adverse outcomes. Now, what Sam is going to do today is share a specific case that we worked on together to explain how this plays out on the ground more specifically. And because we're running out of time, I won't tell you his fantastic pedigree, but I'll tell you in the Q&A. Please join me in welcoming Sam Rosen.
All right, now she gave a bunch of different matter of fact, I ain't gonna say she gave a whole bunch of. She broke down the different layers and structures that we have and gave you understanding of it. He's gonna give you a specific situation to show you what that means. One person built it. Now somebody's about to show you. They're about to take you inside the house. Like, yeah, I built this house and shit. Now he's about to take you inside this house and let you see what it looked like. And he's gonna give you a prime example. And Red, yes, they asked you that for a reason, Red. And they don't ask you every day, so you need to stop lying.
Hi, everyone. Good morning, and thank you, Professor Rose. Thank you.
Hold on. When I heard that motherfucker talk, right when I heard this voice, this is all I thought.
You need to leave.
Came off a little feminine for me. But either way, though, keep going.
So Professor Rose just gave an overview of the theoretical framework for this project. What I'm going to do now is show how structural racism works in the context of a life and a community. And for this, we've chosen a well-known case, the story of Trayvon Martin. Let's briefly review what happened. Trayvon Martin was a Black 17-year-old who was killed by a man named George Zimmerman on a Sunday night in February of 2012 while walking back to his father's house in Florida. Trayvon's death and Zimmerman's murder trial both received extensive media attention, most of which centered around Zimmerman's possible motivations and Trayvon's character. Most media focused on the micro details to explain what happened, instead of focusing on the larger structural forces that set the stage for this tragedy. Behind me is a cover that People magazine ran after Trayvon's death, and I want to direct your attention to the subtitle in the bottom left, which I've reprinted next to the cover. It reads, quote, "An unarmed 17-year-old is killed in a Florida neighborhood. How a chance encounter turned deadly, leaving a family devastated and a country outraged." Now, that caption may seem totally innocuous to you, but we actually think that it's hugely significant because it captures the core framing, the nearly universal common sense thinking about this case and recent others like it. People magazine called the confrontation between Trayvon Martin and George Zimmerman a chance encounter. And in some ways this is true, but on another level, this encounter wasn't random at all. What I want to illuminate for you today is that despite widespread media framing that suggested otherwise, the deadly encounter between Trayvon and Zimmerman was significantly shaped by structural racism. I want to talk in particular about how structural racism and the ideas about Black people that justify it.
I gotta say this. I know I gotta play it for the folks. You know, I know I got some of my white folks that they already done lost their mind. And that's what they say.
For fuck's sake, not that again.
That's how they feel about what he about to talk about, y'all. But he about to break it down for you. It what this wasn't by happenstance. This wasn't by chance. Check it out.
Shaped their encounter in three key areas: in housing, in criminal justice, and in schools. In each of these areas, evidence of structural racism was largely ignored or misinterpreted through the lens of racial stereotypes and individual behavior. And I also want to show that the factors that shaped Trayvon Martin's life and death are by no means specific only to him or to his community. They're instead key components of how structural racism works in the United States. Trayvon was shot while walking back to his father's girlfriend's home at the Retreat at Twin Lakes, a lower middle class gated community in Sanford, Florida. Zimmerman lived at Twin Lakes, and he was the captain of the community's Neighborhood Watch program. So what kind of neighborhood was Zimmerman watching, and why was he watching it? Sanford is a city of about 50,000 in northern Florida, about 30 minutes from Orlando. Both the city of Sanford and the Retreat at Twin Lakes are fairly diverse places. Sanford is about 60% white and 30% Black, and Twin Lakes is about 50% white, 20% Latinx, and 20% Black. And Sanford has a median household income of about $38,000. So we're talking about a lower middle class area, which is significant in part because Twin Lakes was built as an aspirational luxury oasis. These are still frames from a promotional video for Twin Lakes. This secluded gated community, the video says, is like living in a resort, the perfect choice for those looking for space and comfort. In 2004, when Twin Lakes was built, a 1,400 square foot townhouse went for $250,000. But in retrospect, 2004 was part of what we would now call the housing bubble and was a very bad time to build a gated community of aspirational luxury townhouses. A few years later, the Great Recession hit, the housing market collapsed, and many residents, as well as new investors in Twin Lakes, started renting their properties to cover their mortgages. By 2012, in a pattern that repeated itself around the country, the same townhouse that was worth $250,000 8 years earlier was now worth under $100,000. So in 2012, the Retreat at Twin Lakes is a community on an emotional edge, but it was also on another kind of edge. In her presentation, Professor Rose explained that due to whites' negative racial perceptions of Black people, whites stop moving into a neighborhood once it's above 20% Black and move out of neighborhoods that are over 30% Black. So the Retreat at Twin Lakes, which is 20% Black and located in Sanford, which is 30% Black, sat right on the threshold where whites have decided a neighborhood is becoming too Black or not white enough. And this racial tipping point, as you recall, has economic consequences. Because of the higher market value attached to white neighborhoods, white flight accelerates declines in property values, which in turn leads to more white flight. White flight stems in part from whites' unfounded yet widespread hyper-association with Black people as criminals. And Twin Lakes demonstrated this ideology in textbook fashion. In the 14 months before Zimmerman killed Trayvon Martin, there were an estimated 45 burglaries or attempted burglaries at Twin Lakes. Reuters reported that of those 45, only 3 were known to be carried out or attempted by Black men.
45 robberies, y'all, in a 6-month span, I think he said. Matter of fact, I'm gonna let him say it again.
Twin Lakes is a community on an emotional edge, but it was also on another kind of edge. In her presentation, Professor Rose explained that due to whites' negative racial perceptions of Black people, whites stop moving into a neighborhood once it's above 20% Black and move out of neighborhoods that are over 30% Black. So the Retreat at Twin Lakes, which is 20% Black and located in Sanford, which is 30% Black, sat right on the threshold where whites have decided a neighborhood is becoming too Black or not white enough. And this racial tipping point, as you recall, has economic consequences. Because of the higher market value attached to white neighborhoods, white flight accelerates declines in property values, which in turn leads to more white flight. White flight stems in part from whites' unfounded yet widespread hyper-association with Black people as criminals. And Twin Lakes demonstrated this ideology in textbook fashion. In the 14 months before Zimmerman killed Trayvon
14 months, 45 break-ins.
Martin, there were an estimated 45 burglaries or attempted burglaries at Twin Lakes. Reuters reported that of those 45, only 3 were known to be carried out or attempted by Black men.
45 attempted burglaries in 14 months. Only 3 of them they can confirm were Black people. Now, I know some people will say, well, they didn't confirm the rest of them. They could have been black too, or they could have been white people. And, that's another option too. 45 burglaries or attempted burglaries, and only 3 of them were black. That they can confirm. But the stereotype is these black people are prone to criminality. White people don't steal? I guess white people don't steal, y'all. And I know Red got something for me. Let me say he just said was a majority white threshold neighborhood though. No, he said the neighborhood was 20%. But even better with that, Red. Red, I love that. Hold on, let me go to my smaller section. I love that. He just said was a majority white threshold neighborhood though. And Red said white people don't steal, we borrow. So let's say it was a majority white neighborhood and you had in 14 months 45 burglaries. Only 3 black people committed 3 of them. But all we see on the news is probably just those 3 black people that committed burglaries. When there were 45 total. So 42 of them, we just not even going to talk about. We're not even going to talk about it. We're just going to talk about the 3 black. He's breaking shit down for you. Man, look, we got to put on our thinking caps. I put my thinking cap on today. I wore the white one. The white one looked better. But it's funny. It's funny when you actually think about it, because it's amazing what people tell you about yourself, and a lot of the things are just talking points. See, Red said the USA isn't this one gated community. Yeah, but he's talking about an actual gated community.
In the summer of 2011, the summer before Zimmerman killed Trayvon, there was a small wave of burglaries at Twin Lakes, including a particularly well-publicized one where a mother and her child had to lock themselves in a room while 2 burglars ransacked their home. Without any statistical evidence to back up their claims, residents, talking to reporters in the aftermath of the killing of Trayvon Martin, described a community besieged by black criminals. One neighbor said, quote, "There were black boys robbing houses in the neighborhood. That's why George was suspicious of Trayvon Martin."
3 black people caught burglarizing out of 45. And the neighbors are saying, yeah, these black people are just coming in here. Like, come on now. Let's see, Hurricane said the Adjustment Bureau is really working overtime. They giving me a 404 error page. I'll restart my phone 4 times, trying to hop on this panel. Man, get in there, fix that phone. Look, Hurricane, it never fucks with you when you're doing your live streams, but it always fucks with you when you try to join mine. I don't know what that is. And my internet be acting crazy. Say, fuck my phone. Hey, man, look, Boost Mobile, Metro PC, man, they say you switch over, you get a brand new phone. I ain't gonna lie, I'm thinking about upgrading my phone. I might go to Boost, man. Boost actually has some good internet service, man. That shit's pretty quick. Might fuck with them, man. $50 a month, get it popping. But yeah, man, it's always funny how that shit works. But let's keep going.
Another resident told a different reporter that neighborhood burglaries were being committed primarily by, quote, young black males. In the fall of 2011.
Think about that, y'all, though. 3 black people convicted of burglarizing in that neighborhood out of 45. So they just ignoring the other 42 burglaries and just focusing on those 3. And does that not seem very familiar for how we do things in America? When one black person, we focus on the small percentage. We talk about black on black crime. Black crime ain't big as fucking white on white crime. Not even close. Wouldn't even come close to the number. But that's what they focus on. These motherfuckers focusing on the 3 burglaries by black people when you had 42 other burglaries in your goddamn neighborhood. Black folks only did 3 of them. There's young black men breaking into everything. What? They show you that, dude. And see, Hurricane said, Kane closed all internet tabs. Okay, he's trying to help you out.
Just after this small wave of robberies, Twin Lakes decided to form a neighborhood watch. And
I've said that's racist.
That ain't right. It ain't right.
I try to be nice and not call nobody racist tonight, so I just say that ain't right. It is pretty racist though. Like, you got 45 burglaries and only 3 of them being committed by black folks, and you only focus on the 3 by black folks. That's kind of fucked up. It's kind of fucked up. That's kind of really fucked up. But either way, though.
and George Zimmerman volunteered to be the captain. In many ways, though, George Zimmerman had already been the unofficial watchdog of this gated community. He moved into Twin Lakes in 2009, and in the 2+ years between when he moved in and when he killed Trayvon, Zimmerman called the police incessantly to report all sorts of things. But during the summer of 2011, the focus of Zimmerman's calls to police narrowed significantly. Specifically, the Tampa Bay Times reported, he started to fixate on Black men he thought looked suspicious. Often, this was reported as an individual fixation of Zimmerman's, and it may really have been one, but Zimmerman's behavior embodied an irrational racial paranoia that appeared to be widespread at Twin Lakes and is certainly widespread around the country. So you have a neighborhood which has been made fragile by the financial housing sector, and one that is made additionally fragile because of the market penalties attached to a diverse neighborhood, sitting right on what, for whites, is that crucial 20% racial tipping point, a point that activates white racial anxiety. And in Zimmerman, you have a resident who has been operationalizing this racial anxiety, who also has an intimate knowledge of the racial dimensions of housing values thanks to a career spent in real estate and working for a mortgage company, who then volunteers to be the captain of the neighborhood watch and sees a Black teenager walking through the gated community alone on a Sunday night. Zimmerman pursues Trayvon in his car and then eventually gets out and confronts him, even though the police dispatch he called specifically instructed him not to approach Trayvon at all. Zimmerman chases Trayvon, and when he catches him, the two of them struggle, and then Zimmerman shoots and kills Trayvon Martin. He admits this to police immediately when they arrive. Trayvon was unarmed, and it's clear from the 911 transcripts that Zimmerman instigated the encounter. And yet, Zimmerman isn't charged with any crime. Police take his statement and they let him go home. And it's during the 6 weeks that Zimmerman goes uncharged that this killing becomes national news. It wasn't just that Zimmerman shot Trayvon. It was that he had done it, admitted to it, and then been allowed to walk free. Why did Zimmerman...
Name one Black person that's ever happened to. So right now we're dealing with the trial. Well, it's coming up on trial eventually. The Austin Metcalf, Carmelo Anthony situation. This kid committed a crime. We can all say that's a crime, right? Because that's what y'all want to run with. Because self-defense don't apply to Black people. So he committed a crime, and as soon as police got there, he admitted it. He didn't shoot anybody. Did he stab somebody? Yep, he did that. Guess what? They took his ass to jail. But George Zimmerman, they didn't take him to jail for 6 weeks. Just take the statement. Oh, Black kid did something. Write it on up. Go home, sir. We'll stay in contact with you. That's the type of time they was on. That's the type of time they was on. Red said, look, I ain't gonna bite into it, but he said, who threw the first punch? We're not gonna relitigate this shit. But either way, though, let's keep going.
Zimmerman go uncharged for a month and a half? Well, there are a lot of ways that the killing of Black people has been excused and legitimized, but one reason was that Zimmerman was able to invoke a new...
Hey, ain't that what Red just tried to do? He tried to excuse it?
Florida law called Stand Your Ground, a law that was created in 2005 with the support of the NRA and gun retailers, and is now law in some form in 33 states. Stand Your Ground basically extends what's called the Castle Doctrine. Since basically the beginning of its existence, the United States has had the Castle Doctrine, as in a man's home is his castle, which is adapted from English common law. It essentially says that if there's an intruder in your home, you're allowed to kill that person, even if it's possible for you to escape. A century ago, Judge Benjamin Cardozo, who later became a Supreme Court justice, described the Castle Doctrine like this. A man, quote, if assailed at home, may stand his ground and resist the attack. He's under no duty to take to the fields and the highways, a fugitive in his own home. What Stand Your Ground did was widely expand the Castle Doctrine. Under Stand Your Ground, anyone who's attacked anywhere he or she is lawfully present has, quote, no duty to retreat and has the right to stand his or her ground and meet force with force, including deadly force, if he or she reasonably believes that it's necessary to do so to prevent death or great bodily harm. So before, the Castle Doctrine allowed lethal force to protect people inside their own homes. Now, in states that have passed Stand Your Ground, we allow it wherever someone is legally present. Your castle is now anywhere you happen to be, and your reasonable belief in your own danger can justify killing another person. But is this reasonable belief standard race neutral? Let's look at some of the data. This chart...
Is it equal for Black people and for white people for saying I stood my ground? Let's find out.
Shows how likely it is that a killing will be deemed justified based on the race of the shooter and the victim, using white-on-white killings as the zero baseline. So a Black person killing a Black person on the left is less likely to be seen as justified, and a Black person killing a white person is far less likely to be seen as justified compared to a white person who kills a white person. But
now I want y'all to really pay attention to that chart. He said specifically, white on white, stand your ground is the baseline. So that's 0. That's the line that everything starts off of. That black line running across, I don't think I can highlight that yet. Well, actually, I can highlight it a little bit. Yeah. This line right here, this line, that black line on 0 is the baseline. So when black people kill black people, stand your ground, not really getting it. When black people kill white people, oh, it goes even higher. They damn sure not hearing that shit. It wasn't no stand your ground. But if a white person kill a black person, look at them numbers. Look at that. So who you think stand your ground actually applies to? Who can use that? Let's keep going.
how likely it is that a killing will be deemed justified based on the race of the shooter and the victim, using white on white killings as the 0 baseline. So a black person killing a black person on the left is less likely to be seen as justified, and a black person killing a white person is far less likely to be seen as justified compared to a white person who kills a white person. But as you can see from the data on the far right, when whites kill black people, they're 2.5 times more likely to be seen as justified. And in stand your ground states, which is this tall purple bar, that number is even bigger. Whites are 3.5 times more likely to be found justified if they kill a black person instead of a white one. Put in the language of the law itself, white on black killings in stand your ground states are significantly more likely to be seen as stemming from a reasonable fear, the kind of fear that George Zimmerman invoked when he chased, confronted, and killed an unarmed Trayvon Martin. Now, legally, stand your ground was...
Now, I want y'all to understand that because like we revamping, and he's using this Trayvon Martin situation as an example. But think about it in 2025. George Zimmerman got off because he was in so much fear of his life after he chased somebody and attacked him. Chase this motherfucker down. We got police, we got a 911 dispatch call with him telling us that he's chasing this motherfucker, following this motherfucker. Then he approaches this motherfucker, and they still gave him stand your ground. He was in fear for his life. He had to do what he had to do. You following this motherfucker. Like, I've never, like, America fucking snapped at that time. And magically, we done reverted back to now getting 10 times deep in the, like, we all done put our toes into this. Like, we just gonna automatically just come out and just be like, yeah, we don't give a fuck, you black. That's what type of time we on. That's what we on right now. That's what America's on right now. That's why we got little 5-year-old autistic kids getting called a nigga at a park because, you know, a white lady mad about something. She probably can't get a man or some shit. I don't know what the fuck going on. She racist as hell in the heart, and that bitch can raise some money. Look, this is crazy, man. I'm gonna let him keep going though. But I want people to really understand that, man. Look, dude, this man chased this kid down, followed him like a motherfucker, called the police on him and everything, told on himself. And they gave this motherfucker stand your ground. You approached this motherfucker and started this shit, and they gave you stand your ground. That's crazy. That lets you know what this skin means to folks in America. One thing I'll tell you though, it don't matter what it means to these folks, it matter what it means to that man up there.
Was not supposed to be part of Zimmerman's defense at trial because both sides agreed that the details of the physical struggle between him and Trayvon made the law inapplicable. But it didn't need to be in order to serve its purpose. The media talked so much about stand your ground as a mitigating factor, and the defense used the phrase stand your ground repeatedly during argument. And so it appears that jurors whose racial biases were no different than anyone else's were confused and apparently used the racially inflicted logic of stand your ground anyway. After the verdict, one juror told CNN that the jury did acquit Zimmerman in part because of stand your ground, which exposed a shocking misunderstanding of the law's role in the case, but a keen sense of its role in our society. And one of the tragic ironies of this killing is that while Trayvon fell victim in Sanford to one kind of criminalization, he was actually there in part to escape another kind of criminalization. Trayvon didn't live primarily in Sanford. He lived and went to school in Miami, 4 hours south. The night he was killed was a school night, but Trayvon was in Sanford with his father because he had been suspended from school and didn't need to be back in Miami the next morning. The suspension that led Trayvon to stay in Sanford with his dad was his third of the year. His first was for tardiness, his second was for writing the acronym WTF on a locker, and his third was for possessing a bag that had marijuana residue on it. Now, this might seem to you to be cut and dried. Trayvon broke the rules and so he was suspended, and his suspension was often cited in the media as proof of troubled behavior. But it's quite a bit more ambiguous than that. Crop High, Trayvon's school, has detailed guidelines for which offenses warrant which types of punishment. Now, these guidelines themselves are quite draconian, but even if we set that aside for now, it's clear from the details of Trayvon's suspensions that he was treated unfairly even by his school's own standards.
Yeah, we about to get into this, y'all.
On the table behind me, there are 3 columns. The left is Trayvon's offense. In the center is the punishment that offense warrants according to his school's own guidelines. And on the right is the punishment that Trayvon actually got. As you can see, Trayvon's first 2 offenses shouldn't have resulted in suspensions at all.
And he's saying they shouldn't result in suspension. By the school's guideline, the punishment for the guideline, he was tardy. Late to class or didn't come to class. It's unlisted all the way up to no punishment. So you tardy for class, look, we just gonna possibly say something to you, but you ain't finna really get punished for it. What he get? Suspended. Y'all see that, right? He got suspended for something that they said, we're not even gonna punish. Got suspended. He wrote supposedly WTF on a locker. It's a level 2 offense according to the guideline. It's either level 2 suspension only if serious or habitual. So he wrote WTF on a locker one time because if it was more, they would have said it. Do y'all think that's serious or habitual? He got suspended. Possession of a plastic bag with marijuana residue. How do y'all know that's marijuana residue? But see, it's a level 3 though. It's a level 3. Is that a suspension between 1 to 10 days? What'd he get? He got suspended for 10 days. The max they could throw at him. This is in high school.
For his third, he got the maximum suspension for an offense that appears to be one of the least serious drug offenses possible. So, by punishing him excessively and against the established rules, his school created a pattern of offenses, which then snowballed and justified a stiff penalty for the one actual offense. Now, the tricky thing about looking at structural racism through the lens of one student's suspensions is that there's obviously a lot of ambiguity and subjectivity involved. We can say for sure that Trayvon's first 2 suspensions weren't warranted, but there may be additional context we simply don't know about. But when we put Trayvon in a larger context, we see some worrisome patterns. Since the 1970s, the percentage of students suspended from school has doubled, and Black students have been suspended disproportionately. Today, Black students are suspended at 3 times the rate of white students, and twice as often as Latinx students. The most heavily suspended students are Black, male, and disabled.
I watched it on the network.
And Black students aren't just over-suspended, they're also judged more punitively for the same exact behavior when compared to their peers of other races. In Okaloosa County, where Crop is located, roughly 50% of school arrests involve Black students, even though they make up only 12% of the school population. At Crop High, Trayvon School specifically, the data is similar. Nearly 50% of Crop suspensions are given to Black students, who account for only under a quarter of the student population as a whole. Trayvon's suspensions were discussed.
Y'all know that you know what they're gonna say, even though we've been watching this whole video, going through it piece by piece. You still have motherfuckers come around here and say it's because them Blacks act a certain type of way. Like, no, that's not the case. But we got Uncanny in the building. Uncanny, what it do?
Yo, Hurricane ain't lying. When I was hitting the link, it would say error 404. As soon as you drop it right now.
So it didn't. YouTube don't like me, but we in the process of having a conversation right now. I ain't talking about the show. I ain't talking about the show. I'm talking about me and YouTube been having a conversation as of late, and they might be doing some asshole shit. What you got?
Trayvon went to the same school I went to, so they kind of strict on shit like that, like being late or putting work on. But then he went to Carroll City, so he went to Michael Crop. He went to Dr. Michael Crop first, and then he went to Carroll City. Now Trayvon, I wouldn't consider him like a thug, but he was a troubled kid. Like he had like he made a lot of mistakes, you know what I'm saying? But he's a kid, and at the time, he was smoking weed. That's for sure. He was smoking weed, but we're not gonna allow the kid to smoke weed. When he went to the store, that's what he was trying to cop. He was trying to buy a guard, That's what my Florida people call it. He was trying to buy like a Dutch or.
Y'all ain't the only people they call that shit a
Oh
guard.
my bad, my bad. No, because over here they call it shells. In Cleveland they call it shells. I kept hearing people
Yeah, I
say,
ain't
"Yo,
never heard that.
yeah." That's why I had to say like I thought it was different everywhere because people would be like, "Yo, I'm gonna pop a shell," and I'm like, "Yo, what the hell is a shell?"
I'm talking about a bullet, a bullet.
Yeah, like, but nah, Trayvon, and here's a funny story, like, small world. Trayvon's dad drives for Cisco. He was a truck driver, and
Mm-hmm.
my mom and dad used to work at Joe Stone Crab. That's a restaurant in South Beach, and he used to deliver to my parents. So people at the job, my parents' job, knew him during the time that it happened, and they were like, "Oh shit, your son is all over the news." And so his dad and his mom. They were not bad parents. They were separated, but
Yeah.
his mom has a nice job as well. She I think she works for the county, and his dad was a truck driver, and he was suspended, and he went to go with him to live where they lived in Sanford, like outside of Orlando. And the situation happened with George Zimmerman, and I hate that fucker because he's like half Peruvian. So his mom is Peruvian, his dad is Jewish, and I always hate that guy because one of the
Audio
most.
suck. You know that, right?
Oh my bad. You heard what I said though. George Zimmerman's half Peruvian, right?
Yeah, I heard what you said. Yeah, you said you hate that he had Peruvian and shit.
Yeah, because like one of the most racist dudes in like the new I guess you could say the era of injustice movement, like kind of like the civil rights movement for him. But it started with Trayvon and with the whole Black
Yeah.
Lives Matter before we found out it was a domestic terrorist group. But we're not gonna talk about that.
Yeah.
Some of their members got deleted somehow. We're not going to talk about that. It's a lot of conspiracy theories. I ain't trying to get deleted too. But like when he's talking about it, I honestly like I know it's the wind that's messing up audio, but like honestly, when it comes to this whole situation, I honestly believe that it is that everything that's been talking about tonight, like him and the girl, they're like it is some type of like stereotype racism going on. Like for me, for instance, everybody out here thinks they're Mexican and Puerto Rican.
Turn your microphone. Turn it again. Like I'm saying, like twist it however you did before, because you going out again.
Hello?
Yeah, say something again.
Hello.
Yeah, that's better. Keep going.
Nah, but no, like seriously, when it came to Trayvon, I kind of know a lot about him because he's from my city. So yeah, he used to get into fights, and honestly, he was gonna smoke weed. That's why he didn't go home. If anybody ever asked why he didn't go home, they're like, "Oh, why didn't he just take his ass in the house?" He was gonna smoke outside his house. He's not gonna smoke inside his dad's house and disrespect his dad's house. He was smoking weed, and George Zimmerman pulled up on him, jumped out of the car, and the rest is unknown history because we only get.
Well, we know what the history is on that one.
Yeah, the situation happened. Now, Red said he was the first punch. I believe it was Trayvon, but you're not gonna pull up on nobody.
Turn to the side. Turn to the side of something. The wind blowing by your ear.
I said Trayvon probably threw the first punch.
We ain't here to re-litigate this shit. We already know what the people decided. But you said you see how some of this shit plays into society. What were you about to say about that?
No, it just feels like kind of like what they were talking about tonight about how like people view things, or like how if black people move into a neighborhood, white people just start moving the fuck out, or if they see the lower value in the real estate, they start to gentrify the neighborhood. That's what's happening right now in East Cleveland. There's a lot of property being abandoned, and they're starting to buy property there, and they're probably in like 10 years. I'm not gonna be here, but East Cleveland is probably gonna be gentrified. So yeah, there's some truth to how white people act toward minorities.
It's a lot of standoffishness, and for the people that don't want to acknowledge it, they're like, you can call it whatever you want, and that's the nicest way for me to say it, standoffishness, because it's a lot more than that. I'm from Alabama. I grew up in Alabama, man. So I like, dude, one of my best friends probably a couple years ago. Like, dude, this is certified racist. Like certified. He was around any other black people. I'm talking about motherfucker brushed his shoulder. That motherfucker get a towel and wipe it off. It's like he just walking through like he was certified. He like me though. I'm like, dude, this is, bro. I really believe it was a mental illness, but they're breaking down the psychological part of it. Like, dude, we got a lot of structures in place to help facilitate it, even if you don't have that mindset.
But I just came up before our favorite racist came up and took over the show, you know, and with his
man, he got, oh yeah.
Because now that the link works, he's gonna hit it. But like, I get it, man. You know, it's gonna be here for a while.
And Hurricane Screen just be fucked up.
What up, man? Oh man, this is fucked up.
What
I gotta
up,
go.
man? I hate this shit. I hate this phone. I've been trying to hop on this panel all goddamn night.
I thought the network error that happened with the stream. I hit the link and it was giving me the same thing you were getting. It was saying 404 error and shit, and I was like, and then finally when
JBJ blowing up, dog. JBJ blowing up. They do not want us on this stuff, man.
I just think y'all got terrible phones.
But if you
yeah, man. Hopefully I'll still be on by the time you go on your next break, Uncanny. Appreciate you popping up, though.
Peace out here, man.
That boy got to fix that audio. Hurricane, how you sounding?
Yo,
say something.
Yeah, is my audio good? Is my
yeah, you good. You
Thank
good.
fucking God. That 404 message hurt my soul, dog. I'm like,
and I was like, man, I thought people gonna be hopping up on here. That's kind of funny that popped up. But here, let the people know where to find you at and shit real quick, like before we get back into the video.
Hurricane JW 2 on YouTube. I make revolutionary music and content, home of the Fuck the Government podcast. Yeah, but Hurricane JW on Facebook and yep.
All right, yeah, look, y'all heard it, and make sure y'all go check it. And we got look, we got a surprise guest in here. Goddamn fucking hell must be freezing over right now. But we got Ops up in the building.
You got the epic anime music and shit walking through this game. Nigga floating in the phone. What up, though?
I didn't get that dun. Like Goku with Ultra Instinct out there, bitch.
Yeah. That shit was fire.
That ain't gonna lie, man. That was epic. Fucking Op, are you here? You here, sir? Or you just gonna sit on mute?
Oh, I gotta speak too?
Yeah, you gotta introduce yourself. You hopped up.
Yeah, I thought I could just pop up. I thought I could just pop up like Michael Jackson and just stand there and everybody go crazy.
Right, for like 10 minutes, everybody having heart attacks and shit. Niggas getting hard out. He ain't even saying a word yet.
I didn't even walk down here. Goddamn. But now,
that's all. Introduce myself? Man, look here. Y'all know what it is, man. Motherfucking Big Op at the building, man. You know where to find me. If you don't, the fuck you doing with your life? Look for Big Op 2024, all that good shit. But fuck all that. I'm here to talk that shit, man. You find me, you find me. Fuck all that. I'm here to talk that shit.
The lie detector test determined that was a lie.
Get him. Goddamn right.
This shit.
I'm here to talk that shit. I'm here to talk that shit.
Wait, here, check it. I'm gonna play a little bit before I get y'all opinion on this shit. I'm gonna play a little bit more because I want to see if I can actually pull this off in time, but I don't think I will. But either way, we're gonna try though. There you go. Let's keep going.
Ad nauseum in the media, but almost always as legitimate and an examination of his character, not an examination of the school, its policies, and his treatment by the adults around him. This is one of the key ways structural racism works. It posits that racial disparities are the product not of systems, but of Black individuals' behavior, and then primes people to search for evidence of behavior that can account for the disparity. This erasure of the workings of structural racism and the use of behaviorally focused racial stereotyping was present in all of the other issues I've talked about today. Let's take a quick look at some of the headlines from stories about the case to get a sense of the pattern. NBC says Trayvon Martin suspended from school 3 times. New York Magazine says FBI sources say George Zimmerman isn't racist. USA Today, Trayvon Martin, typical teen or troublemaker. CBS, George Zimmerman used a racial slur in a bar. And the New York Times says defense in the Trayvon Martin case raises questions about the victim's character. All of these headlines draw our attention to questions of individual behavior as a way of explaining what happened, and they draw our attention away from important racially discriminatory forces and perceptions. What I hope I've conveyed today is that Trayvon Martin's death was the product of much more than what People magazine called a chance encounter. It was the product of structural racism in 3 key areas. In housing, it was the product of racialized fears about crime and neighborhood prosperity. In criminal justice, it was the product of a legal logic which legitimized the killing and demonized the victim. And in schools, it was the product of the racially targeted application of draconian school policy. The micro-level, interpersonal details of these cases, of course, do matter, but the way we've explained what happened to Trayvon Martin hides how structural racism works and the damage it does. Thank you.
The concept of racism often...
Give me your thoughts on what he just said, how he finished off right there. I'm going to go to... Hurricane, I'm going to go to you first.
Yeah, like, I think he was talking about how the propaganda that was portrayed in the media kind of stirred away from the real true motherfucker was just following the black guy home and killed him. Or most of the time to kill shit. Like, yo.
That shit crazy.
Next.
What you think? No, he right.
Huh?
I said I know.
Right in the comment.
I said I know you're riding in the car.
Oh. Well, I think that yeah, I mean, yeah. As I watched the case and all the stuff in real time, that's all it pretty much played to. Like, if you take a black life, especially a YN, they're not gonna really, give a damn. But not only that, they treated Trayvon Martin as if he was a grown-ass man that got into a bar fight with another grown-ass man. And we keep forgetting that was a boy. He was 17 fucking years old. He wasn't no grown man. So we had a grown man follow a child home. And another thing I'm thinking about was how long he was staying with his father before this happened.
It wasn't too long.
So he probably didn't see Trayvon within the neighborhood within that time, which is possible to happen, especially if they haven't been staying there for a while.
Yeah.
But at the same token, it's like how you see somebody just walking around regular. And then, if I'm not mistaken, at the time, because they say he went to the store around the halftime of a basketball game he was watching. So it wasn't even that late in the evening. He made it seem like it was like 1 o'clock at night or something like that. It wasn't even that. I think it was like 8, 9 or something like that. So I'm looking at all these things, and it was an implicit biasness. And we find out George Zimmerman he's racist. He's a racist piece of shit. And not only that, he got gunpower. You know what I'm saying? He got trigger happy. He took this young boy's life, and then he tried to shoot other people. I think he shot his father-in-law or something. Then had a shootout with one of his neighbors from up the block. Like, we found out this dude is just trigger happy and crazy. You know what I'm saying? But the case it was just racist, and we know it comes from all of these things and how they look at black people, especially young brothers. They don't care. Like, you may not be doing nothing wrong. Like, I see what Uncanny said about the smoking and this. That don't have nothing to do with any of this. Why he lost his life. That ain't got shit to do with it. So what if he smoked weed? A lot of young people smoke weed. Like, when I went to school, a lot of young white boys smoke weed, and I used to see them buying weed all the time. So that don't got shit to do with anything. That ain't no reason to take somebody's life. You feel me? So we know all the things that happened led up to that because he was a young black boy. But the sad thing is, they don't look at us, even when we're children, they don't look at us as children. You know what I'm saying? So I kind of wish the professor guy would have put that in there as well. Because just because we're black, they look at it as like savage. They don't look at you as a child. You could be a boy or girl, and they still think that you're a savage, a grown savage. Yeah. So that's what was fucked up about that case.
It takes a lot of hope out of the youth when shit like that happens. Because I know when I was younger, I was very optimistic about shit. I grew up in a town that was like probably like 85% white. So all the shit that I would hear my parents and all them talking about, like, you know, kids hear shit that grown folks talk about all the time. That's why a lot of these kids in certain communities come out just like, how you saying the N-word and goddamn first grade, motherfucker? Like, you heard that at home or something? Like, what the fuck? Like, how that work? And fucking a lot of that shit be taught at home. But fucking I grew up around a lot of white folks growing up, and I was very optimistic. And look, when I got to the military, I got a reality check about, hey, look, motherfucker, you better know who the fuck you is. This America, motherfucker. And a lot of people act like that shit's not reality. I'm like, you ain't never been if you have never been in a competitive environment where it's like the best person should get the job, and then you see things happening in front of you all the time. If you haven't been out in society just having a good time and seeing some people getting arrested for shit that other people don't get arrested for, I'm like, you see court cases go a certain type of way, it starts to dawn on you. But a lot of folks just keep them blinders on. It's amazing to me. It's amazing to me because we even talk about court cases all the time. We didn't have a real divide amongst the men when it came to the Johnny Depp trial. We didn't really have a lot of divide, but when it comes to shit like George Floyd, oh Lord, it's all coming out the woodworks. All these implicit biases, this just stereotype about certain folks. And the fucked up shit is that gets me all the time. People always talk about their history. Your history can play a part in if you might possibly commit a crime again, if you were guilty of committing that crime, but it shouldn't play a part in your sentencing and shit. Like, what did you do in that moment? I feel you out when he was like, yeah, when Uncanny was talking about bringing up the weed smoking. I want to say it didn't matter, and honestly, it don't matter because a lot of people smoke weed. More white people smoke weed than black folks, and I know Red gonna say, but per capita, it's like, look, everybody smoke weed, man. Everybody smoke weed. It didn't matter. But it's things that people use in arguments to justify bad actions. They do it all the time. And people don't understand where that comes from. But it comes from this bias and everything they've been talking about. All this shit doesn't come from one spot. It does not. For all the people that think it comes from one spot, no, it's everything involved. The criminalization of black folks, the unemployment. Like, people will put you in a situation and then claim they'll justify you being in that situation because of your behavior. And they done did that in America for the longest. It was like, how you gonna say the people that helped build this country to where it is right now are the laziest motherfuckers on here? They've been working their ass off, motherfucker. You can't say they ain't where you are because they lazy. There's other things that play a part into this. But
yep. I guess murdered, raped, and pillaged this land and have the nerve to call me lazy. I'm like, nigga, y'all people that have a fucking culture. Made us build this shit and then tell us we're lazy, bitch, please.
Yeah, look, it's like that girl. I swear, man, a lot of race folks, I say they act like women. It's like, look, you'll be with a motherfucker for goddamn 3, 4, 5 years, have fucking 5 kids with this motherfucker, and say, bitch, I ain't never like you anyways when it ends. It's like, what? What?
Hey, but I want to go back to that George Floyd thing you was saying, because I had made a comment about that earlier. And that's the thing that tripped me out is he had a track record of doing bad things as a police officer that can pretty much show that led up to him doing some type of thing like this. If we're gonna use people's track records, which is far worse than what Trayvon got in trouble for. So you mean to tell me that Republicans are turning around and say, I for the life of me, I don't get it, but I guess it's just the game they playing. Well, he need to be released, but it's like you see his track record, and then this would be my thing. I'm not even trying to be funny. I would like to do a social experiment with those white Republicans. Say that let's go outside. You lay down on the street and let me kneel on your neck with my 200-something pound weighing ass for 8 minutes and 47 seconds, and let's see if you almost die. I'm gonna stop before you die. And what am I gonna test? What am I gonna test it to? Oh, well, you stopped breathing because of that cheeseburger you ate for lunch. Oh, you stopped breathing because you had coffee this morning. Oh, you stopped breathing because you was doing yoga. Like what the fuck are we talking about? So then not only that is like, so why would you, if you stand for what's right, why would you even try to fight for that? And then the merit thing, like, oh, we talking about taking away affirmative action so it's fair for everybody. No, the amount of black people that own businesses in this country, you don't have to worry about that many black people being able to just go to the government and I ain't got no equipment, I ain't got no employees or nothing, but I'm black. Go ahead and give me one of them government projects, and they go like, here you go. That's not how that shit works. So like the female professor said, I forget her name. Like what she was talking about, if everybody's everyday life white people is 1% social network of black people, explain to me how it's gonna be fair for everybody if all the motherfuckers in this country look like white bread. How is it gonna be fair for every fucking body? Like, this shit is the most common sense type things. 1 + 1 = 2. It's easy math. And then we got to keep dealing with this. You know what I'm saying? And I think with Trump being in office, he went from 45, like when Michael Jordan came back, he won the best, to now he's 47. So when 47 got into office, he doing all this Project 2025 bullshit. And I think a lot of the white racists that was with Democrats came over to Trump because the white racist Republicans back then thought they were so above us, they wouldn't even address us. Now these new white folks, these new white folks that's coming in, these motherfuckers wanna just put their racism all on the table, which I'm fine with. Show me who you are. You're a bigot. You show me where you stand at, because I like what the sister was saying, but I ain't gonna front all the stuff she's saying. We already know, and I think by this point we have to fight more towards, when we tell ourselves this, we need to be worried more about being independent and what we need to do. Because I ain't gonna lie, I do wish for one election black people would go back to being Republicans more and do all the stuff they say, leave the plantation, and I guarantee you will still see that this shit don't work for niggas. Oh, my bad, I forgot. We already did that when we left the plantation in real life the first time, and we still went through some bullshit. So my thing is, we need to choose independence in ourselves, man, because we try to tell all these biggest shit. You know what I'm saying? You got Red Illusion and shit. That a bigot like that don't care. He don't care. He gonna stay a bigot for life. He don't care. So that's my only thing. Like I think we need to choose each other more and stop trying to explain it to white people. They don't care.
Ain't gonna hold you. Hurricane, you anything?
I agree with the independent. Huh? I just wanted to say I agree. We need to be independent, and on the other side of the coin, we need a revolution. There you go.
I'm gonna say Viva Revolution.
We need a military. We need a military.
I'm gonna try to speed run this last little bit so we can try to get this under 2 hours. We're gonna do this shit quick. Let's see though. Let's see.
Conjures images of overt acts of prejudice and discrimination, hateful slurs, discriminatory policies, and blatant segregation. While these manifestations of racism are undeniably harmful, they represent only the tip of a far more insidious and deeply entrenched iceberg. Structural racism. Let's delve into the intricate workings of structural racism, drawing upon the insights of renowned scholar Tricia Rose, particularly her framework for understanding how this pervasive system operates. By examining her analysis, we can gain a more profound understanding of how historical legacies, interconnected institutions, and seemingly neutral policies perpetuate racial inequality in contemporary society. Rose emphasizes that structural racism is not a static entity, but a constantly evolving and adapting system. It is a legacy of historical oppression, such as slavery and Jim Crow, which has created deep-seated inequalities in wealth, housing, education, and the justice system. These historical disadvantages continue to shape present-day realities, creating a cycle of racial disparity that is difficult to break. Furthermore, structural racism is often invisible or normalized, making it challenging to identify and address. It operates through seemingly neutral policies and practices that, in reality, have racially disparate impacts. In her work, particularly in her ongoing project How Structural Racism Works, Trisha Rose identifies several key drivers that form a flexible and highly connected apparatus perpetuating racial inequality. While these drivers are interconnected and influence one another, understanding them individually provides a clearer picture of the multifaceted nature of structural racism. According to Rose, some of the crucial domains where structural racism operates include housing. The history of discriminatory housing policies, such as redlining, has created and maintained racially segregated neighborhoods. Redlining, the practice of denying services or charging more to residents of certain areas based on their race or ethnicity, has led to significant disparities in property values, access to quality schools, healthcare, and other essential resources. These disparities persist today, contributing to the racial wealth gap and limiting opportunities for upward mobility in communities of color. Rose highlights how these segregated housing patterns then influence other areas, such as school funding, which is often tied to local property taxes, thus perpetuating educational inequalities. Criminal justice. The criminal justice system in many societies exhibits stark racial disparities at every stage, from policing and arrests to prosecution, sentencing, and incarceration. Rose points to the ways in which racial profiling, implicit bias within law enforcement, and disproportionately harsh sentencing for offenses more commonly associated with marginalized communities contribute to mass incarceration, particularly of black and brown individuals. The consequences of a criminal record.
Yeah, man, they goddamn, that shit actually getting on my goddamn nerves playing it that fast. I ain't gonna get to the end, so fuck it. We just gonna do final thoughts on this shit. Look, what he's trying to break down is, and a lot of people don't understand this, and we got Red at the last second. Let me let your Red go first. Red, what you got? Tell the people what it is.
Spider sense in the segment.
What's up, Red? What's up? So I'll save my.
Can't hear you.
Can you hear me? Am I good?
I can hear you now.
All right, so I'll save my thoughts overall for later, but I just want to address what Op directed towards me. You said something really interesting, Op. You said, well, what's the point in us getting off the plantation, so to speak, if, look what happened the first time we got off the plantation. That didn't do much. And to that, I would say the plantation isn't a one-time thing. You don't just get off the plantation and you're good. Okay? It's like the Matrix. You have to constantly fight against it.
I don't see. I want to respond to that.
Revolution?
I say Hurricane. I think Hurricane pretty much just said what I was just about to say. Hurricane said what I was just about to say. I digress.
I destroyed the plantation.
Yeah, I didn't even like that talking point when Republicans were saying that, especially black Republicans. Get off the plantation. Get off what plantation?
The Democrat plantation.
Yeah, but I'm saying, that could be flipped around for white Republicans. Like, get off the plantation.
Well, both of them are plantations, but only one of those plantations allows them to think independently.
Yeah, and one plantation is openly okay with racism.
Yeah, and that's also the plantation that allows them to think independently.
No, that's the Republican Party. What are you talking about?
Well, no, I mean the Republican Party. I mean, dude, did you see the last RNC? They were basically worshiping black people.
No, hold up. So you telling me that you don't think the Republican Party has more openly racist people than the Democratic Party?
Openly?
Yeah, openly.
Openly, they probably have more. However, that is shifted nowadays. If you see white supremacists like David Duke and Richard Spencer, like they don't support Trump.
No, I'm just saying, here you have a party, you have people that claim to be conservatives that are openly racist right now. Like they don't give a fuck. They'll go on Piers Morgan and say, yeah, I'm racist. If that's what you want to call me. Yeah, fuck it. I'll take it.
Oh, you talking about that white girl? That's my girl. What are you talking about my girl like that?
So that's your girl. So you have more people in the Republican Party that are openly racist. You talking about what was your negative about the Democratic
Party? I don't
Party?
even think that woman that you're referring to is even in the Republican Party. She has beef with a lot of Republicans.
No, she's a conservative though. You can always have insight.
Conservative doesn't mean Republican Party though.
It does.
Not really.
You have conservative and then you have liberal. Democrats are the liberal, conservatives are the goddamn Republicans. What are you talking about?
All right, whatever you say.
That's not what I say. That's what the fuck it is. I didn't label it. You know.
On average, conservatives are Republican. On average. Oh, I agree with that. Yeah, thank you, Op.
I didn't make the term. I'm just going off of what the term has already been made for me. But look, man, both of them are plantations, and neither one of them are good for you. But it seems to be a lot of people that this video should have been for, or the people that call themselves conservatives. You can just
Well,
say
no, I agree. Neither plantation, well, neither might not necessarily be good for you, but one of the plantations is a lot more freer, if you know what I'm saying.
No, it's not. I hope you don't think the Republican Party is.
No, well, I'm not talking about the Republican Party. I'm talking about the right-leaning conservative side. Like, for example, the conservative nationalist manosphere, or the black manosphere for that regard.
Keep going. Keep going. I'm trying to hear you out. Where were you going with this?
Well, there's a big divide in populists, whether it be, you know, black guys, white guys. We're coming to this point where we don't support Trump. We understand Trump has a lot of weaknesses, and he's more of like a kind of like a foot in the door kind of thing. But we also understand, you know, the people we're up against, and you know who we're up against. You know, the IBF, the industrial complex, the you-know-whos, the rainbows. It's a big problem. And so, like, this petty little race black-white thing that was invented after the Nathan Bacon Revolution in the 1690s, it really needs to stop. Because
keep going. I'm sorry. Nah, keep going. I'm sorry.
Because as you and I both know, and I've told you this several times, white and black, or should I say European and African men, are the only people capable of staging successful revolutions against their government. And that's why there's a dead set agenda directed on dividing us.
I don't need. I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry. God damn, you said this little race thing. That just stuck in my head. It's stuck in my head. Well, hell, if y'all want us to be allies against the people at the top, if that's the argument and the sentiment, I'm all behind that. But there's going to be some stipulations we need to have.
Charleston White said, "What other allies do you have?"
I don't give a fuck what Charleston White says. Fuck Charleston White.
Well, it doesn't matter what he is as a person. He made a point that was very poignant, and his point was, what allies do Black Americans have, if not for white Americans?
They actually got a few if you really think about it.
So really, Africans, Mexicans?
No, dude, they were actually the Japan was paying for black dudes to come over there.
Oh yeah, and look at Japan now. They have pictures
black dudes
on their subway. Do you know what Japan is doing right now? Japan has pictures on their subways of monkeys, all right? And they have pictures on their subways of monkeys acting, you know, rudely. And they're like, oh, don't be a monkey, act civilized on the train. And it's an absolutely racist picture. But that's that's the type of time they're on in Japan, because they're a very quiet, civilized, high-trust society. And if you noticed, you can leave your bike unlocked in Japan. You can lose your wallet on the subway and it'll get returned to you. Try doing that in New York.
Red, you just did a false equivalence. You just try to say, well, they got this, what did you say, a video or a picture?
No, it's public advertisements that are all over Japanese subways.
Okay, you said there were public advertisements of that. Motherfucker, they do that shit in America. What are you talking about?
Yeah, but that's I know, but they don't.
Saying, like, how are you? No, hey, I want you to understand the point that I'm coming
but
from.
But here's the difference. What I'm saying is Japan has a fucking problem with it, and they don't tolerate that shit. You get on a subway in New York City, you're liable to get hit in the head by somebody trying to be Michael Jackson on the fucking bus pole. All right. In Japan, everyone keeps their heads down, they're reading books, and everyone understands, don't play your speaker volumes on full blast, be quiet, mind your business.
Red, have you ever been to Japan?
No, but I'm sure I know you have.
So why the fuck are you talking about something that you don't know about?
Well, prove me where I'm wrong.
My personal experience proves what you're saying is wrong.
Which part?
You talking about people don't blast their music on the radio? I mean, when they in a subway or on a bus or some shit? You don't think Japanese people do that?
Not in a rude way.
What? How can you blast your music in a rude way?
You can listen to your music on your phone, like hold it up to your ear, or like be jamming out. There's a difference between that or like having headphones on, and a clear difference between what we see. Listen, come on, man, give me a break. You ain't about to tell me, dude. In New York, Chicago, Detroit, we get on the bus, and there's always some black. Well,
Have you been to New York? Have you ever been to New York?
Woman on the bus, whatever the public station is, and she's got her phone in speakerphone, high volume, so everyone can see it, and she's looking at everyone like, "Oh, say something about my speakerphone volume."
Red, have you ever been to New York?
Dude, obnoxious, and we're getting kind of sick of it.
Red, have you ever been to New York?
Yeah.
No, you haven't.
Yes.
You just saying shit. You doing what the lady in the video said. You're making stereotypes.
No, I
about
went
shit.
to Times Square, and I went to the South Bronx.
You went to Times Square in the South Bronx. What, one time?
Yeah, it was about a week.
Yeah, you ain't got a good experience.
Well, nobody that goes to New York gets a good experience.
No, I'm saying you don't have enough experience to speak on that issue.
I know a lot of people from New York, and they're telling me, like, yeah, what you got is, per the chorus, when you go to New York, subway smells like piss. Everyone's a schizophrenic.
I'm going to use your logic real quick. Since you just said you know a lot of people from New York, so you can state these things. I know a lot of white people. So when I say they're racist, incest, inbred motherfuckers that goddamn just like to do evil for no fucking reason, you can take my word for it.
An entire race is a lot different than a single state.
I'm just saying you can take my word for it, right?
No, because you're talking about an entire race of people. I'm talking about a specific city, and particularly the specific city transportation underground.
Dude, you talking about a specific city being there for 7 days. I've been on this earth 35 years and been to multiple fucking countries dealing with white folks. I think mine would trump your goddamn 1 week in New York. I think mine will trump your 1 week in New York. I'm just saying though, so I'm gonna use your logic so I can say what I just said, right? And it be factual. You need to believe me, right? Since I need to believe you.
Okay, I'll believe you.
Hey, yo, real talk. I'll be traumatized spending a week in Gotham City too.
Bro, any person should be traumatized.
A week in Gotham, nigga. No Batman, nigga.
I went to New York.
Bro, after a certain street number, it's a wrap for you, dude.
Dude, it all depends on the areas that you go to, and the sad part is that's one thing that they point out in the video. Like, man, you're around the people that you're around your level. You're not. Nobody ever hangs around outside of their level on a grand scheme of things. Like, you're not gonna hang with people that's outside your level on a majority scale. You're gonna hang around people that are similar to you, whether it's economic or whatever the fuck. So if you say you're around all these bad black people, what the fuck does that make you? And that's the same thing I say to every other black person. If you hang around white people that got shit going on, obviously you in a group of people, you're at a certain level.
Wait. What?
You're around your level. People don't hang around people outside of their level on a regular. That's when she talked about the 1%, the social network. Your social network is going to be people that are similar to you. Most white people don't hang around a bunch of black folks. You say you hang around a bunch of black folks and you talking about how bad they are. Motherfucker, where you at? That's your social network.
I'm in the middle of it. I'm in the middle of the shit.
You're not in the middle of the shit. You down there with the same people you talking shit about.
What you talking about? I just left the club. It was some shit.
You right there with them. It's funny that that's like a woman criticizing a dude for cheating when she done cheated.
No, I'm not a white flight kind of guy. I'm not saying, oh, I hate these black people, I can't be around them. I'm just telling you what it is in the black community. And we all know damn well, and even a lot of black people know, there is a problem with violence.
Hey, Red, let's be real. You can't have white flight. Let's be real. Let's go and get that out the way.
Of course I could. Are you kidding me? Of course I could.
You can't leave where you at.
Of course I could. I could go to Ohio or Indiana and pay half as much in rent.
Who paying for that?
Fine.
Who paying for your flight and your relocation?
What do you? It's not a flight to Ohio. It's like a 45-minute drive. I'm in Michigan.
Who's paying for it? Who's paying for it? Because you act like moving is easy and cheap.
For a 45-minute drive, who's paying for that? That's like $20.
Dude, you gotta move all your shit. See, that let me know. See, Red, you got the wrong mindset. You gotta move all your shit. You gotta find a job. Like, you ain't even think about nothing. Dude, moving is very expensive. People don't know that. People that ain't moved before, I'm trying to tell y'all, when you move, you relocate yourself.
What do you think? I spent the past 2 years.
That shit is expensive. You talking like, oh, $20. It's not $20 to move your life.
Well, because I moved into Detroit. If I was moving to Ohio or to Indiana in a cheap suburb, I would be way better off.
But you can't afford to move. That's the point.
No. Those places are actually cheaper.
Red is not about that. You don't have the ability to pick yourself up and move. That's
What are you talking about? A bus ticket's like $7.
Okay, that's you can move your whole self with just a bus ticket. So you ain't got shit in your house. You ain't got no TV.
I mean, to keep it real, I'm a man. Listen, hold up. I'm a man. I'm 25 years old. I only got about three luggage cases worth of shit.
3 pairs of pants, 3 shirts. Like, what are you talking about, man? Like, it's not making no sense to me. Like, dude, it's not cheap to move. It's not.
All right, yeah.
Right, unless you nigga about to move to the fucking woods or something, unless you nigga about to motherfucker make a campsite. Like, what the fuck? Even that cost, you gotta buy the goddamn tent and the water filter and shit, and the motherfucking solar panel and the Wi-Fi box.
National Reserve land.
You gotta look. I just didn't like that you said that you didn't have white flight. You don't have the ability to have white flight. You're in the same group of the people that you're talking shit about, that you have negative views.
Maybe if they give me a jetpack.
Dude, you hang around nothing but black folks. You trying to be a rapper? What are you talking about, Red? I've seen your pictures and shit.
What do you mean trying to be a rapper? I am a rapper.
I see you trying to be black.
Trying to be black? How so? You think that's reserved?
Yeah, I do think it's reserved.
Yes, hip hop is reserved for black people. It's our culture, man. You gotta get co-signed to get in our culture.
Okay. So who do I need to get a cosign from? Who do I need to get
It gotta be another rapper who is respected.
Royce the 5'9". Royce the 5'9". Let me record in his studio. Does that count?
But he had black.
No.
Into the country club.
He actually gotta bring you out, do a song with you and cosign.
Okay.
And look, we know reality.
Hurricane, am I lying, Hurricane?
He just fell off. He fell off again, and his phone. He be fighting his phone. But nah, man, Red, I thought that was. I didn't think that was a good statement. Me personally, look, man, we have issues in society, and people need to understand. I get it, man. I've been saying this for the last couple of weeks, and I'll say it again, man. I understand why some white folks have some anger in their heart, and it's usually the people that's on the same level as me, because they look around in the world, they look around in their life. It's like, I'm supposed to be in front of this motherfucker. I'm supposed to have more than this motherfucker. They know, because I'll ask anyway. Matter of fact, Red, I'll ask you, hey Red, if I gave you $10 a day, would you change your race to be black? You heard me?
Wait, what are you asking me?
If I gave you $10 right now, would you change your race to be black for the rest of your life?
Under what context? Like, I can change my race to be anything?
No, you got to be black. You got to be black. I give you $10. You can get $10, but you got to change your race to be black for the rest of your life. Would you take them
So
$10?
you'll give me $10 right now, and in exchange, I'm black for the rest of my life,
Yeah.
and that's it.
Yeah, that's it.
No,
Be black for life. Why wouldn't you want to be black for $10?
that ain't worth $10, dude. What are you talking about?
And that's the point right there, y'all.
Well, first of all, I have pretty eyes. I have pretty blue eyes, and all of that goes away if I'm black.
Hold up. I got a point that I wanted to prove off of that. Most white people wouldn't trade their whiteness to be black, even if it was probably for $1 million.
Most people in the world wouldn't trade themselves to be black.
You know why? It's because
yeah, I do.
You know how black people are treated in society. All the things that you deny that happens to them, you wouldn't even trade being black for $1 million. Think about how crazy that is.
In America, yes, I would. Are you kidding me? For $1 million, if you gave me $1 million to be black right now, I would be black in a heartbeat. Of course.
No.
Dude, if you gave me $1 million to be black right now, of course I would be black. What are you talking about? I'll eat a bucket of watermelon. What are you talking about?
All right, that is too much.
I'm just gonna smoke a cigarette off of that one.
But I understand why you would take the $1 million, because inflation is a motherfucker, and the price of living is shit.
For $1 million,
yeah, you would take that $1 million to go buy a cabin to hide out somewhere. I fuck the bullshit. But we saw the video of the white ladies told the motherfucking people to motherfucking raise their hand to see if they're trained to be black, and ain't nobody raised their fucking hand at all. So they like, yeah.
That was a college campus, right?
Look,
yeah.
That was Jane Elliott. Jane Elliott.
Yep, Jane Elliott. Yep, that's
college, yeah, these college campus white people are like self-destructive. There's something wrong with them.
Like people act like
they're being indoctrinated. That's what's happening. They're getting their brains scrambled by the fucking indoctrination system.
Yuri Bezmenov. Yeah, you already know what's up.
But here you go. Be honest with you. Everybody on the college campus ain't goddamn liberal.
Most of them are.
Okay, but most of them ain't. Here you go. There are a lot of people on college campus. What percentage would you say is liberal?
I would say on the major high prestige college campuses like Harvard, Yale, all the big ones, USMC, U of M, it's probably like 85% liberal.
85%, and you still have so many conservatives in the Republican Party, because most of these people that go to those colleges,
because we're not talking about fucking college, dude. We're talking about the Republican Party.
No, I'm just saying you got a lot of people in high places in government, whether it's in private industry, that are very conservative leaning, that went to these schools. A big percentage of it. So you telling me that small percentage of 15%, possibly because you say 85 liberal, they're just going into the world and doing shit, or you think it's more towards the middle? Because in my honest opinion, I think it's more of a 50-50 type thing, just like in society. Actually, I'll say about 60-40. I'll say 60.
I was thinking the same shit, 60-40. I was thinking 60-40 too.
Well, it is 60-40,
well, like 49-51. 49-51.
Yeah, I think it's more. I think it's closer to just like how it is in society.
And this is why I wanted to school you on per capita, JVJ, because you bring all these intellectuals, these college professors that say, people's preconceptions, people's perceptions about the world don't match reality. Well, it's stupid. We don't need a study to show us that. All right. We already know people's perceptions don't match reality. And just because that's the case doesn't mean they're racist.
Yeah, but the thing that makes it racist is when you operate off of the thing that you know is not reality.
Like what?
Just like when it came to the Trayvon Martin, he used that as an example. Did you not follow?
I'm talking about broader here. Okay, so per capita, again, going back to per capita.
Yeah.
there is a problem. Okay, so you have two claims. Right? So you have a positive claim that you're trying to refute, and this positive claim is that black people are the problem. Black people are the cause of all the violent crime. All right. And on the other side of that, you have people who say, you know, black people are angels and they can do no wrong. In the middle somewhere is the truth.
Nobody's ever in
Actually, over 3,000 people said that who donated to Carmelo Anthony and said, you know, they gave messages like, "Oh, good on you for killing a white person."
No, that's not the case. And like, see, you need to stop doing that. Look, I would rather you just tell the truth and make your argument. But when you start doing that lying shit, that's when it makes it a problem. Nobody said that. You just making that shit up off the top of
Really?
your head.
No, nobody donated to Carmelo Anthony and said, "Good, kill Whitey."
Show me.
Yeah, I need to see that shit.
Okay. Yeah, I'll link that to you guys.
Video on that shit.
I need to see.
Shit, I can make a live on that. I gotta see.
And then you gotta verify
Well, I mean, guys, he made $500,000 in donations. You don't think some of those donations were a little racial?
Red, he go check this.
Nigga, Kanye is racial. Like, what the fuck?
No,
I need to see some receipts of these Kanye shows.
Hey, look, we're doing a hypothetical right now. We're doing a hypothetical, and I'm fine with it. Okay, here you go. You want to suggest that some of those people that donated to him were racial, right? You want us to admit that some of them were racial. Well, here you go. If I say yes, in return, can you admit that everybody that donated to that white woman and raised almost $1 million, they call that
absolutely, 100%. Because it was in response to that.
It wasn't in response to that.
It was, because it was 3 weeks after the fact.
I'm actually trying to give white folks some actual ground to saying they do things on their own. They just don't do shit off of what black people do. I'm trying to give them their own. They did it just
well, you know, I can't speak for all white folk because, you know, I don't live around white folk. But I'm telling you, the reason why Shiloh Hendrix got all that money is because Carmelo Anthony got all that money.
Well,
same reason.
One got one for the defense fund, and one got one because they just wanted to stick it to black.
No. It wasn't just the defense fund. It was the bail lowered. They got their bail lowered conveniently to that amount.
To get bail is part of your defense, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I just wanted to double check because you said no, and I'm like, hold up. That's all a part of his legal process. They raise money so he can get out of jail.
That money, you know, when they say, "Oh, that money is donated to his legal defense," his lawyers are getting paid. That's not necessarily the case, especially when they have a high bond.
Look, that's part of his defense. They raise money so that boy can actually have a defense when it comes to dealing with the legal system. Other folks raise money because they want to raise money to show them black folks we can call y'all a nigga, even if you're a 5-year-old autistic kid.
Okay.
That's what it was. Like, there's no other way around it. Like, how are you gonna shape it into something else? Like, what are you gonna shape it into?
All right, I'm seeing where you're going with this.
I'm just asking. I'm like, what you gonna shape it into? I'm like, they raised money for a woman that called a 5-year-old autistic kid a nigga. And she
No,
say the way,
yeah, that's not why they gave her money.
what they gave her money for? Tell me again.
They gave her money in response to Carmelo Anthony raising $500,000.
So these white people are so pissed off that black people raise money so a black dude could defend himself in court that they raise money for a white woman that called a black kid a nigger. Do you not understand how sick
because you don't understand the temperature. Maybe it's because you're old, maybe it's because you're a millennial. You're not in tune with the times. But we're not doing this shit anymore, dude. Just because, you know, it used to be for the past 10 years, if a white person says the N-word, you can record them on their phone and they'll have their whole lives ruined. And you'll make $1 million on social media. And that's what this guy was trying to do. But in this case, the opposite happened and the white woman made $1 million. And this is a vibe shift, as they call it.
Red, I feel you, man, but that's so bad. That does not make white people look good. Oh,
Well, white people aren't
Oh.
concerned about looking good anymore. Okay, we don't care about looking good for 15% of the population.
when do you think white people were concerned about looking good?
Well, since 1965 to about 2024.
White people just been lying to themselves.
Dude,
Motherfucker ain't been
if
trying.
white people didn't care about looking good, we would have never passed abolition. If
What
white people didn't care about looking good, we would have never freed you.
Look. First, I will tell you this: white folks didn't do nothing out of the kindness of their heart.
So why did we free you?
Because of money. Because of fucking money.
Okay. So the northern people freed you against the southern people's needs.
Well, dude, I don't know why like white folks want to have this benevolent mindset that they did things for a certain reason. You need to go fucking look
So
at
if
your
white
own
people freed you because of money, how can you say you built the nation?
free shit. Why you keep saying that shit? You keep saying that white folk.
Okay, so white people didn't build aqueducts. White people didn't create the light bulb. White people didn't create the industrial engine.
No, black people didn't create this, and black people didn't create that, and black people like.
I mean, well, in sub-Saharan Africa, black people didn't create written language. They didn't create the wheel. They didn't create domesticated beasts of burden. They didn't create two-story households. They didn't create stone monuments.
Well, you need to do some research, man. Like, dude, the first language came
No,
out
I've
of
done my research. Trust me.
every language is derived from Africa. What are you talking about?
Yeah, which part of Africa? It's not sub-Sahara.
It is. Like, dude, I don't know why you keep saying that. We didn't cover videos with it.
You know, Africa is a big continent.
You just
and I haven't even given my opinion on the videos we've seen tonight. But after I do, I'd like to talk about the whole South African.
Look, it's only been one video. It's only been one video I showed tonight, and you can get that off right now because I already went past my 2 hours. So go ahead and get it off your chest. Hurricane, did you have anything before he get it off his chest?
I can't wait till the revolution come. Go ahead.
All right, Red, go and get it off your chest, man. Go ahead.
All we're really doing is we're trying to instigate the revolution as fast as possible. But anyway, yeah. So this whole idea of, and what JVJ showed tonight was a bunch of white and gay and Jewish liberals with college degrees showing you why you should hate white people. But I have a contrary view, and that view is that these people are not interested in black excellence. They're not interested in black success. And what's actually happening is a divide between the white populace and the black populace in America. And the reason why this is being formulated is because the black population has been victimized for decades now. And this is why they have, a higher rate of violence in their communities, a higher rate of low education, and even pointing those things out are seen as racist. Oh, you're a racist. You can't talk about that. You can't say black people have a violent tendency, when even like a lot of black people admit this. And the reason for this is they're trying to create a separate class in America to divide us. When we all know black people who have been in this country for 4 to 3 to 5 generations have as much as a seat at the table as the white founders. And most people recognize this. But as long as we're, talking about racial dilemmas, and it really started with OJ and Trayvon and George Floyd and Carmelo Anthony, these are all propagandistic techniques to get us to fight against each other. We all know who the enemy is. We all know who we're taken over by. And it's time to start acting like grown-ups, in my opinion.
All right, you done?
Yeah.
All right, appreciate you. Yeah, that was a bunch of fucking bullshit. I'm just gonna say that right now. That was a bunch of fucking bullshit. This so-called we know who the enemy is. You help prop up the enemy with the mindset that you have.
Who's the enemy?
You talking about the rich and powerful people, right?
Yeah, who is that?
Top, right?
Tell me, who is that?
It's the white folks. It's the white folks.
Oh yeah, white people who are 6% of the Earth's population control everything. Okay, I think that might be a little bit of a projection on your part.
Hold on. I actually think white people make up more than 6%, but they don't. They don't control the way the world works.
Not in the way you think it does, especially when you consider that.
The way you talking about it.
Listen, hold on. Over 100 million white people have died on behalf of a certain group of people's interests, and furthermore, after they established that state in the Middle East, even more.
You trying to blame the East
in that?
Are you blaming the East? Is that who you talking about?
Okay.
Are you talking about the E's?
Yeah.
They're white.
They are. But they're a certain kind of white. And I don't accept them.
They're white. So I don't know what the fuck you talking about. Once again, you're talking about white folks at the top, right?
Well, some of them are white. For example, Bibi Netanyahu, he's a Polish white Jew.
Okay. You still blaming
and so yeah, he's pretty white, but he doesn't call himself white. He calls himself Hebrew.
I don't care what he calls himself. He's white, right?
Me neither. I don't care what he calls himself either. You and I both know he's a fucking white Polish guy who's trying to influence his country's control in the Middle East. We both know that, and they're trying to start a war with Iran. Yeah, we both know that. My whole thing is, fuck those people. We have to be concerned about our demographics in the United States.
Yeah, I'm just saying though, those people white though. We gonna get that clarified, right?
Bibi Netanyahu is white? No, he's Jewish.
He's white, right?
No. Well, you see, here's the thing about Jewish people. They say they're white when it's convenient, but when it's not convenient, they'll say they're Jewish. So, like, if they're talking about, like white privilege and shit, they'll be like, oh, yeah, my fellow white people, we have to stop being so racist. But as soon as you say, oh, yeah, black people hate white people, that's when they'll claim their Jewish heritage.
Yeah, but I'm saying, is he white, though?
Who?
You talking about Netanyahu? Is he white?
No. He's Jewish.
I'm saying, is he white?
No.
I'm talking about color. Like, you looked at him. Is he white?
Even by the original stance of color, which was created after the Nathan Bacon revolutions in the 1690s, even by that definition,
If you I answer it, he's not black. I answer that. He's not black.
No, he's not black. He's definitely not black. I'll tell you that.
He's not black.
Jewish people, I can understand them going either way in a way, because some Jews could not very well see themselves as white. I mean, it's a religion. You could join. Look at Sammy Davis Jr. He's Jewish.
They're a race, and when it's a religion, they'll say they're a religion. They're a sneaky people.
Not a fucking race, man. I don't.
Some Jewish people are sneaky now.
If you have a Jewish
lazy black,
it is an
Hold up. I don't want to have a conversation on Jewish people because you already know how YouTube is about that shit in America.
Yeah.
Really fucked up right now.
Say
So we gonna end that part of this conversation by saying they white. They are white, and I don't care about that shit.
No, they're not white. They're actually closer to Arab.
They're not no different type of fucking people.
But Arabs are considered white in this country, though.
God damn, it's a religion, like Lena said. It's
What
a fucking
ancestors say
religion.
they're white?
Huh?
I know black people that claim they Jews.
Yeah, they are Jews.
I mean, I know what the Quran tells me.
There's a whole bunch of them. I know Chinese people that claim they're Jews.
Exactly. So we're not finna do
Oh, I've
that.
never seen that.
The people you referring to when people say that
No,
shit,
there's a whole Jewish tribe in the middle of China.
I didn't know that.
we know who the fuck we're referring to when people say that. And those people that you're referring to are white people. They're white people. So outside of that, we got Miss Lena in the building. How you doing, Miss Lena? What's going on, girl?
I'm doing good. Hey, Jay. Hey, Hurricane. I know my babies at work. I see you on Candy. Hey, baby.
Jesus Christ.
Booski.
Give me your thoughts.
You know,
on
even in
video.
England, they be like, "I'm not English, I'm British." Like,
Be like, I'm Celtic. I'm Spanish. It's like, bitch, I hope all
I'm
you
Scottish,
motherfuckers.
not Irish.
A lot of people get ethnicity mixed up with nationality. But here, Lena, give me your thoughts on the video so far.
I actually just came in. I was, you know, getting ready for work, and I wasn't able to listen and stuff. I was in the shower, but I had to come up when he said
White
Jewish
shit.
people be sneaky. I was like, I didn't appreciate that comment.
Lena, hold that thought real quick. Like, I got this for you real quick. I got something for you. Ready?
Okay.
Shame. 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 Shame.
Is that from the Hunger Games? I can't that movie.
Game of Thrones.
Game of Thrones. Oh, on shame on me. That sure is Game of Thrones. I know better.
Yeah, shame on you, Lena. But
God.
either way, go ahead. Go ahead. What you about to say?
But this notion that blacks are lazy is just so not true. Like, they're lazy, but then they don't want to give you a job and get rid of DEI. Like, this is insane. They don't want to give you a job, but you're still lazy.
Right.
Well,
if I'm so lazy,
huh?
If I'm so lazy, if I'm so fucking lazy,
it don't make no sense.
I've never heard a white man tell me that people are lazy. It's always other black people that tell me, "Yo, motherfuckers are lazy, bro."
Hey, Red, remember what you told us earlier. Remember, you got to put your own shit in perspective. You're around a bunch of black people nonstop.
Exactly. Exactly.
And guess what, Red? I'm around a bunch of white folks.
Exactly.
Yeah, and I know what white people say.
And I know what black people say.
And guess what? It's all stereotypes.
Yeah, well, here's the thing, because we saw these white college intellectuals and these white professors tell us all these things, and they said, oh, perception doesn't equal reality. And like I said before, we don't need a study to tell us that. All they're saying is, certain people had certain conceptions that didn't equal the truth. And the reality is, on one side of the spectrum, you have people that think black people are doing all the crime. And on the other side, you have people that think black people can do no wrong. In the middle is the truth. And the truth is, yes, there is a disproportionate problem with crime in the black community. And that's just undeniable.
Red, that's actually not the truth. And that's what you keep
It is.
telling
To look it up on the latest statistics on the FBI crime database.
Red, how much of the video did you pay attention to?
They're the most convicted.
The whole thing, and all it was referencing is white people polling data compared to total arrest data. And again, this is not per capita. I don't know why you can't. Maybe if I explain it in basketball terms, I don't mean to be insulting, but maybe if I explain it in basketball terms, it'll be more accessible. So let's say.
Hold on. I understand what you're saying. I don't need you to try to break it down. You're saying that when you look at the data, black people are arrested more per capita than anybody else.
Not arrested, convicted.
Okay, convicted. Even convicted. What I want you to truly understand is, because you keep leaving this variable out, if you ride around in the hood 85% of the time you're patrolling and never riding around white folks, what are you going to find? If I go looking for drugs, I'm going to find some drugs.
Why are you riding around in the hood as opposed to the suburbs? Because you find more crime in the hood than you do in the suburbs.
You're not listening to the video. You obviously didn't listen to the video because there was a narrative shaped
No,
around
I
people.
did listen to the video, and it's talking about white people's perceptions by data. It's talking about what white people think versus the reality. And of course, what people think doesn't match the reality. But what is the actual reality, JVJ? The actual reality is black people do make up a disproportionate amount of violent crimes in this country.
Red, people make that their reality. They make it.
No, it's the facts. Look it up.
Red, hold up, Red. You didn't listen to what she was talking about. when you criminalize certain behaviors in certain people, you make that criminal. That's why there are more people in prison now today than there were slaves, because they have
because they commit more crime.
No, they don't, Red. They do not.
They do. I can link you to all the data.
Dude, you need to. I guess that's the way to deny that your people have power. That's one way to do it. Your people are shaping the narrative. They're creating the reality that a lot of us are living in. Your people have done that. You keep trying to sit here and pretend like it's not happening, like y'all have no hand in the cookie jar. Your whole fucking face is in the bitch. Your whole face in it. You criminalized and chose to target.
Well, no, actually, no. First of all, no, because that's not the case. White people don't look at other white people and say, "Oh, that's my friend." That's not how white people trust. Especially liberal people.
I'm scared of him. He's a criminal. You don't do that either, though.
Well, it depends on how you're dressed. If you're dressed like a wigger, you might be associated with that.
No. You still will not be perceived as a black person. Throw in the context, man.
Yes, you will. Yes, you will. As a matter of fact, I know this for a fact. Of course you will. If you're a white person and you have face tattoos and neck tattoos and you're wearing a hoodie, you're going to be perceived exactly the same as a black person in any white community.
No, you won't. No, you won't. No, you won't.
Of course you will, because you're a wigger.
No, you won't. You can keep saying yes, but it's a no. It's a no. You still will not be perceived as a black person.
So why do they make up the majority of arrests?
Hey, but think about this though. Red, you put all these stipulations and said that you got to be a white dude with face tattoos with a hoodie on. You're still, that guy will be perceived as the basic black person.
I'm just telling you why the stereotype exists.
Tell me if it gets worse. Tell me if it gets worse if you have a black dude with face tattoos late at night with a hoodie on. That's worse than the white dude with face tattoos and a hoodie on, ain't it?
Yes.
Not perceived the same. You just answer your own shit. You just see how
stupid it is worse. It is worse because they're more likely to commit a violent crime based on the statistics.
Once again, there you go. That's a perceived notion. No, you can find crime in
No, that's not a perceived notion. That's the facts. And I just linked it in the back chat. You can find the FBI crime database. Look at the past 5 years. Look at the murder rate. Look at the aggravated assault rate. Look at the robbery rate.
Oh, God.
Okay, let's entertain the fact. All right, fuck the bullshit. Let's entertain the shit, Red. Let's say you are right. Who created this fucking system to put us in this fucking predicament, to keep us going through this endless fucking loop?
Jews.
Oh, God.
All right, we're done. I need a hurricane irritation meter now.
You know,
see, Red, like you make me want to be like, fuck you fuck this unity shit. I want to erase all you white folks off the goddamn planet. But I'm not trying to go that route. I'm cool. I'm a revolutionary. I would just want, I'm fighting for freedom.
Look, I said it earlier, man. I said we was talking on the phone. I said racist whites act like women. They take no accountability.
I think racist blacks act like women, because just like how feminists, like what's her name? I forgot her name. In the corner there.
We're not racist. There's no racist black people against white folks.
No. But I'm just saying, like, you know how feminists say, you know, oh, you just hate men. Dude, I had this girl say to me the other day, because I was like, hey, she was talking about, oh, you know, all men this, all men this. And I was like, hey, maybe you don't understand, like, the average plight of the average man. Not the average man that you fuck, but the average man. And she's like, oh, well, maybe you just hate women. And I'm like, well, no, I don't hate women. Who hates women more? Me, the average guy that you just met, or your past 2 boyfriends who cheated on you and beat the shit out of you? You know what I'm saying?
You believe in the stereotypes again. You're just throwing another stereotype to prove.
Stereotypes exist for a reason, and the black crime stereotypes exist because there's a disproportionality in black crime.
God, Jesus fucking Christ. Red, the video didn't help you out at all, did it?
Look at the FBI crime statistics. I'm sorry.
You
You know, I wish this wasn't the case. It's inconvenient for me too. I wish I didn't have to talk about this.
Red, you really didn't pay attention to none of the video, did you?
All the video was talking about white people's perceptions. It wasn't talking about the actual truth. So yeah, we know white people believe stupid things that don't exist. No shit. But the actual truth of the matter, and even most black people agree to this, is that there is a problem with violence in the black community.
Now look, he
In
didn't
the
pay
system created by the motherfucking powers that shouldn't be, to keep us in an endless fucking loop.
Even in systems
School
that
to
aren't
prison pipeline type shit.
like in Nigeria, like in Ethiopia, it's the same thing.
Red, hold up real quick. What you missed, and it was actually the biggest part of the whole video. You clearly missed this part. It talked about the systems that perpetuate people being in certain situations, particularly the black community. You missed
Yeah,
that.
it talked about home ownership in the justice system. But none of that shit matters.
Red. It actually does, and that's your fucking problem.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Because you had several groups of people who were.
I want you to chill for a second. I'm about to explain something to you one more time, because obviously you missed the whole fucking video. So I'm just say this. Just please don't interrupt me in between. Look, they talked about how when black folks got their freedom, they were given nothing. And then they were excluded from a lot of things that other communities were allowed to get. When you have nothing, you have to take. You have to take. When you don't have opportunity, you have to take. So that
You have to rob?
What did I ask? What did I ask, Red?
Other groups did it though too. You know, when they didn't have anything, they were bottom of the barrel. They were more likely to commit crimes like thievery, stuff like that. I mean, when the Irish came here, the Italian, yeah, they did the same thing.
Yes, exactly. No, you're right, Lena. There was an Irish mob. There was an Italian mob. 100%.
And at that time, they were categorized as a different group, just like you keep trying to say them U's are. But guess what? They got indoctrinated into the white community, and they call them white now, so they don't get persecuted anymore. They're not a target anymore.
Now, I do agree that we disproportionately do, in a way, commit crime, but it's due to a lot of things that happen to the black community. I really believe, like the last 20, 30 years, it's because of the crack epidemic, the aftermath of that. That's my belief. Aftermath of the crack epidemic, broken homes, that's what increased the violence and the problems in the black community. That's me personally.
Look, I'll tell you this. Look, first off, if you look at, since Red keeps talking about FBI data and all these things, crime is actually down. Crime is not being committed nowhere near the level that it was.
Not black crime.
Yes, it actually is. But then outside of that, with crime being down, people, you once again keep forgetting, when you put people in a social economic position, things happen.
No, that's bullshit. There's the
man. Look, hold up, real quick, because I don't know why the fuck this nigga keep trying to talk when I'm talking.
Got a mute button.
Yeah,
mute him.
Like, goddamn, I ain't finna keep trying to make a goddamn point and then fucking coming back. Like, we're not doing that. So, Red, I'm bringing you back up. Stop fucking doing that shit, motherfucker. I'm talking. When you have a society that's built on demonizing and criminalizing certain people, you look at them nonstop. You ignore your own. That's why you'll talk more about goddamn black on black crime in a city than a motherfucker that shot up a goddamn high school. That's the bias, and that's what they talked about in the video. All these different aspects come together to cause one fucking nuclear thing. You
really think the entire United States government is...
All right, dropping again. You discriminate against motherfuckers when it comes to housing. You discriminate against motherfuckers when it comes to how we judge people when it comes to they did something wrong. Black people get longer time, harsher sentences for the same crime. You don't let them get jobs. You keep them in a perpetual state of poverty, and then you wonder why the fuck they commit a goddamn crime. That's where you standing at.
Boom.
Well, actually,
and you want to mention FBI? These are the motherfuckers that have an organization to motherfucking put shit in your community and do some COINTELPRO shit. I don't trust anything about the FBI because these motherfuckers did a fake FBI kidnapping plot in Michigan just to get the leaders of a white militia. So it's like, nigga, fuck the FBI on all fucking levels when it comes to that shit.
I see exactly where you're coming from. I see exactly where you're coming from, Hurricane, and that's what I'm saying. Because in these instances where it's white people are the devil, white people are the villain, it's a control, divide and conquer tactic.
Red, you're going through an identity crisis, and you know it.
I've always been according. Have you guys?
You want to be black so bad. You want to play the Eminem playbook so bad. You just mentioned Royce the 5'9" earlier. Who is Royce the 5'9" cool with? Eminem. You want to be Eminem.
5'9" is a bitch, and he got dissed by Mickey Fax.
You want to be Eminem so bad. You probably live on 8 Mile. Like, this shit is crazy. How do you want to be a rapper?
I'm Royce the 5'9", and I did confront him about the whole Mickey Fax diss.
How are you want to be a rapper?
I don't believe that, son.
A rapper.
But
you're racist. What the fuck?
Hurricane, go to my channel, listen to my last song. It was recorded in heaven, Royce's studio.
Hurricane, you see how he's avoiding that, right? How are you trying to be a rapper and you're racist?
I know this is a little off the subject,
This is hilarious.
Big
I'm like the most racist person alive, and yet I'm in Royce the 5'9" studio.
Big Ops.
Wait, hold on. Let them finish this conversation. This shit getting good.
Because you're in Royce the 5'9" studio because he doesn't know you're racist. You like probably played it off. Like, I'm an Eminem wannabe. Like, I want to be Eminem so bad.
Dude, I recorded a song. I recorded a song in that studio called, Future Mask Off. I recorded a song called Gas Off in that studio.
How much did you pay? How much did you pay to use that studio?
For that song in particular, $300.
You bullshit.
That's
bullshit. I know they're not charging no less than $5,000 to use their studio.
Bullshit. Are you kidding me? It's not even a good studio.
You recorded a track.
First, the 5'9" ain't motherfucking having no bullshit studio because like the shit meant because I could do a studio in a motherfucking closet.
It's not a bullshit studio, but it's not a $5,000 studio by any means.
You're not. Listen, you're not CJ. You're not Hurricane. Hell, I never listened to Ops music, and you're not Ops. Like you're racist, bro. This shit is crazy. You came up here and you literally said black privilege about Carmelo Anthony. You went up against Trayvon Martin. You go against every black person, but you want to be a rapper? Like, what the? That's an identity crisis that you're going through. I understand. I understand. I get it. You live in Detroit. You're white, so, and it's a black city. Mostly, it's like Baltimore, Detroit.
Like George Floyd and Trayvon Martin. Those are bad examples. Like if you pointed out examples like who is the brother got choked out in New York? Eric something. I think that was totally unjustified. Or
I'm trying to see.
The young.
But I want to know how. Wait, hold on, Red. I'm trying to see how Trayvon Martin, George Floyd was bad examples.
Especially Trayvon Martin, he was hunted down.
And George Floyd overdosing on fentanyl.
No. On fentanyl. What the fuck? Oh my god.
The autopsy said he died from suffocation though. What was the autopsy? But back to Trayvon Martin.
Eric Gardner. That's who I was talking about. Eric Gardner and who was his name? Rice. Something Rice.
Oh.
You talking about Tamir Rice? Look, listen, man. Look,
yeah.
Hold on, Red. Hold on, Red. So how was Eric Gardner a better situation when they say he was outside trying to sell Lucy's?
Because the implication on Eric Gardner is that he was illegally distributing. That does not warrant lethal force and killing him, in my opinion.
So how does George Floyd garner legal force to kill him?
Because Derek Chauvin didn't kill him. He overdosed on fentanyl.
So why is
So,
Derek
all
Chauvin
right. So I was just hold on, y'all. All right, Red. Let's do this. Remember, Hurricane? I was saying this earlier. Let's do this, Red. Let's meet up. You lay down in the middle of the street and let me kneel on your neck for almost 9 minutes, and I weigh 230 some pounds right now. Let's see how long it would take you to die. And then if you choke out or try to tap out, then I can use the excuse, oh, it's because you were drinking coffee this morning, or you smoked a blunt this morning. Because if you didn't smoke, then you would survive me standing kneeling on your neck. But I should be able to kneel. Hold on. I should be able to kneel on your neck for like 20 minutes then, and you'll be all right.
Well, if I said, yeah, go ahead, I'll kneel on my neck. But that's not what happened to George Floyd. George Floyd was escorted into the police cruiser. He started complaining because he said he was claustrophobic. He tried to escape the police cruiser.
And then the best thing to do was kneel on his neck for almost 10 minutes. It was the fentanyl that. Hold on. I'm trying to. Wait. Hold on. Let me finish asking my question. So you're saying that when Derek Nazi was kneeling on his neck, he caused the overdose because he was on fentanyl?
No, he was already overdosing on fentanyl.
So he stayed kneeling on his neck for almost 10 minutes. So that's not what killed him.
According to the autopsy report, no.
Okay. And then with Trayvon Martin, explain to me how that was a bad example.
But back to, can I say something though?
Wait, hold on. Let him finish real quick. We'll go right next to you. How was Trayvon Martin a bad example?
Because there was a whole contingency, and I was 12 years old when the whole Trayvon Martin thing popped off. I don't know all the facts and details about it.
But you got an opinion on it, so go ahead, give me your opinion.
I do have an opinion on it, yes. And that is the reason, and like the previous video just admitted, there was an uptick in robberies. Whether it was white people or black people, it doesn't matter. There was an uptick in robberies in that neighborhood. And so George Zimmerman was well within his right to patrol his neighborhood and see what kind of motherfuckers are walking down the street. And if
I gotta jump in real quick with that one. Red, hold on. I'll finish this point, but I do gotta jump in. You said George Zimmerman was well within his right because there was an uptick in robberies, even if it wasn't black folks. They blame black folks. That's the whole fucking point.
No, but what I'm saying is George Zimmerman is well within his right to patrol his neighborhood watch.
45 robberies, Red. 45 robberies. 3 of them were black.
Yeah, 45 robberies. 3 of them were black.
Did you ever hear the call? They said he had an uptake and he had so many calls calling in 911, and every time he called, he kept saying they was black. The crowd was like,
fat black girlfriend took the stand and she couldn't say shit. What happened to that?
No, hold on. Let's just go back. I'm trying to. All right, you said George Zimmerman was in his right to patrol his neighborhood. All right, now what?
He's in every right to walk the street without being pursued at night by some crazy man who called 911.
No, hold on, Lena. Hold on. All right, I'm trying to follow where Red is going with this. George Zimmerman had the right to follow him. Now, what else you got to say after that? Red?
I mean, if he's on neighborhood watch and there's somebody in his neighborhood that looks suspicious, yeah, you have the right to follow them. And I say this as a victim of neighborhood watch.
No, I'm still trying to see why this was a bad example. Because Trayvon Martin didn't do nothing. They didn't find him guilty of breaking in houses. So I'm still trying to follow you. Why was that a bad example?
It was a bad example of racial white supremacy you guys are talking about. Because first of all, George Zimmerman is fucking Mexican. He's not even white.
No, he is not. He is half Jewish, half Peruvian.
Oh, so he's Jewish. Interesting. Thank you for putting that up, Candy.
Hold on. Because so you saying it was a bad example because George Zimmerman wasn't white.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is why. Hold on, real quick. This is why Jay keeps saying what he said to you that you ain't paying attention to the video. The reason why that example was brought up is because the way it's looked at when it comes to black people because of the system and what they've done to black people since slavery. That's why it was a good example.
No,
Can
I agree.
can I, can I
There's a
interject?
system that's
Hold on.
been put in place to make black people look a certain way, but you guys also have to admit black people don't do themselves any favors by committing 50% of the fucking violent homicide.
Red, hold on, Red. So basically, it was raining that night. That's why he had the hoodie over his head. Secondly, he was gonna go smoke weed. So what? Everybody smokes weed. Your people smoke weed more than anybody.
No, I don't think Zimmerman said anything about smoking weed. I don't think that's why he stopped him.
But see, hold on. But this is where it's another issue at, because white people like you will try to just go with the simple numbers instead of all the other numbers that's broke down when it comes to implicit biasness and all the system issues that we have in this country since then. So you saying by committing crimes, but 48%, almost 50% of the people that are released because they were falsely accused is black men. So there's other situations that they talked about in the video of how a crime would be committed. Hold on, that crimes would be committed, and black men compared to white men will get the harsher sentences or get more.
But
so
do you know?
Wait, hold on. This is where it's an issue at. We have stuff like Central Park 5. We have other situations, if you want to go back to Emmett Till. We have all these situations where something will happen, and all they got to do, hold on.
Talking about the general.
Hold on. We're talking numbers here. We have all these situations and historical facts that as soon as something happened, they just blame black people for it. So that video was to show these implicit biasness that happened, and because of that, people like you would just look on the surface. And then going back to what Uncanny said, but you still want to be a rapper. So it's okay for you to talk shit about our people, but you want to do something that's in the culture for our people. But then you mean to fucking tell me you okay with being this way that you are, and then this is what it causes for this situation when it comes to our community, where everybody's talking this and everybody's talking that, but then when they deal with the community, it's okay for them to leech and culture vote. You ain't nothing but a culture vulture, because if our community is so bad, stay the fuck out of it. Go back to where your people at. The same way y'all tell us that we argue about things in America that needs to change. Everything that every time y'all argue about what's wrong in our community, if we arguing about it, y'all say, well, leave if you don't like it in America. Well, if you don't like what's going on in our community, get your ass the fuck out and stop trying to go to Rush the 5'9's fucking studio and thinking you gonna be another fucking Eminem. Well, really, you motherfucking machine gun killer. What's the other dude name? The racist white dude.
Because it's
Kenny, what's that racist dude that was around there? Yellow Wolf? You ain't but another Yellow Wolf. You're another Yellow Wolf.
I know Yellow Wolf.
Yeah. That's not.
That's you though. It be crazy. He be knowing some of the most racist people like it's normal.
Thank you. There we go. Thank you. It makes sense.
Yellow Wolf was racist? Is he?
If you know these, hold on. So you mean to tell me you follow Rush the 5'9", but you ain't see the shit that happened with Yellow Wolf and Rush the 5'9"?
I know the beef between him and Royce the 5'9", but they squashed that beef 3 years ago.
This was shit just happened recently last year about racism.
Yo, we could cut all this bullshit. Hey, Red, when you go back to Royce the 5'9" studio and you see him again, just call him the N-word and just see what happens. You say it all the time.
That's a hilarious argument. That's a very funny argument, Uncanny, and let me tell you why. Because this is what I get all the time from liberal white people and from people who are uncritical of the black community in general. They say, "Oh, why don't you say that in the hood where you're from? Why don't you go outside and say that in the streets?" And it's like, first of all, I do say that in the streets, and nothing happens to me. And second of all, you're only saying that because you think it's going to implicate violence against me, which proves my point.
I just
you talking to two black men that always critique our community and what we need to do better.
But we'll just be out though, for real though,
So
Red. You do
there's a
know a
problem
lot of
with the
racist
black
people,
community.
for real. Like, he knows the guy from, what's that, January 6th? And they had went into his house or whatever, and he had that painting of the KKK holding a black girl. He's like, I know him. I was like, what? He always knows somebody racist. Like,
And he think he not.
Yeah, dog.
He's not gonna do it. He's not gonna do it because most white people who say the N-word or are racist, they don't like being around black people. They scared of them.
Well, I don't have a choice.
You do have a choice, like Jay said. You can move.
he probably one of those white people. Y'all see that? Y'all see that video where they said redheads are the new black, redheads are black people?
Exactly. That's why I got the pass now. You guys didn't heard?
Redheads are black people.
Man, Red don't even understand. He the body. Look. That's the reason that he can't
No, you
believe
don't
in
understand that redheads are black.
we talk about. Like, the reason he can't believe in the systems that we talk about is because he can't see any disparity against black folks because he right down there with them. In reality, you need to do a retrospect.
No, that's where I see the.
In your society, you're the bottom of your barrel. Like, that's the problem. Like, you can't compete with your own folks in the wicked game that they already have rigged. They put you down there with them black folks because they don't give a fuck about you. But instead of you actually realizing your problem comes from them folks up top, the people that look like you would rather just sit here and criticize black folks nonstop. Like, because me and Op will sit here and call out the bad things in the black community. We do it all the time. This whole channel was based off of that. But y'all won't ever say anything bad about y'all community, and y'all the ones out here committing the most fucking evil. Like, y'all talk about black on black crime. Y'all look, black on black crime compared to genocide. Which one would you take? Y'all motherfuckers don't give a fuck about nothing, but y'all will sit around and criticize people for the same things that y'all do, and that's the problem that we have. That's one of the biggest problems because it's hypocritical. How the fuck you gonna do worse shit in charge? You got a man that fucking hunted down Trayvon Martin, deleted him, and they didn't take him to jail for 6 months? Or 6 weeks. I think it was 6 weeks. He didn't even touch a jail cell for 6 weeks. But a black dude who these white kids try to break into his back door and he shoot him in the backyard. He's sitting in jail with no bond right now. Yeah. We got motherfuckers that raise money for a defense because, they know the book about to get thrown at him. We just want to get this nigga a defense, no bond type shit. We don't give him some money so we can try to help him out. Y'all gonna raise money for a bitch to call a black kid a nigga. Autistic 5-year-old. Y'all have no moral ground to stand on nothing. On nothing. Nothing. Y'all
and then they got a campaign that got the nerve to say they got fake tea, black people.
They got black fatigue. They just let in 60 fucking white folks. While they said we ain't letting in no refugees, talking about the people who stole South Africa, their descendants are being persecuted. That dumbass shit, man. Look, you ain't got no moral ground to stand on. But Red, I want you to try to defend any of that. Y'all know I did a video on this.
So, it's funny how racism is dying down. And when I say racism, I don't mean racial tension, but the idea of calling people racist is dying down. And that's why Shiloh Hendrix got donated that money in response to Carmelo Anthony. And when you say things like, oh, you're getting mad at 50 white South Africans, and notice how we say white 50. South Africans, but 60. Not brown.
60. Hold on.
60. Oh, 60, not 50. Oh, I'm sorry. So it was 60, not 50, as opposed to the 20 million fucking people that we've let across our border over the past.
We like them.
Yeah, because they're brown and not white. But see, here's the thing. When these white South Africans come in,
Red, who hiring them? Who giving them a job opportunity?
Who?
Who giving it to them? These so-called people that you claim we let in, even though
white South Africa, it doesn't matter who gives them a job opportunity because they have a pioneer spirit. They are hard-working white people, and they will fit in just well in middle-class white suburbs. You can see people grilling with families.
That's dumb. That's dumb. You
But the reason why people, I found out the white people got a problem with the white South Africans coming in.
I didn't see them waving American flags. They were waving Mexican flags.
And you need to stop
You
that now.
don't get mad with the Irish doing it and the Italians do it. They wear their flags. Hell, I'm in a city where they dyed the whole lake green for them motherfuckers.
Now, Lena, this is what we're gonna do. Because like Red's trying to do false equivalence right now. He's saying we let these people in, but then they turn around and call them illegal. These people are only coming here because his folks.
Yes, they were illegally let in.
No, stop. Not doing that. His folks let these people in. And his folks are giving them a job. His folks are doing this, but he's saying we let them in. Your folks let them in. You right. You let them in, just like you let them white folks in here from South Africa who stole somebody else's land. And the government is trying to take that land back and reappropriate it to the people who land it was because you stole it. And they bring them in here, calling them bitches refugees. He want to compare that to people that had their whole countries fucked up by America. He want to compare that. They fucked their whole country up in America, ran coups and all this other shit in their country. So they flee across 5 fucking countries and come to America because their own people are going to give them a fucking job before they hire his white ass.
Right.
That's what he defended. That's what he
Yeah,
defended.
man, they going around doing some time to kill shit and shit on that motherfucking Zimmerman case. Like, that ain't nothing but the time to kill movie. I'm like, you know, like, and they praise Zimmerman for fucking doing that shit. It's like, God damn it, man, I wanted to do that shit.
They are double dipping. Red, I'm gonna let you back up. They are double dipping. They want to benefit from their labor and their work for them coming to this country, but they also want to be able to demonize them when shit go bad. They double dipping. We don't like no double dippers, bitch.
And that's another thing that tripped me out, Jay. Sorry to cut you off. What tripped me out is when Red said he wished his own people would start having that white guilt. No, a lot of y'all do need to have that white guilt because the parade around this country, like y'all got this motherfucker in the righteous way, is crazy to me. So a lot of white people do need to have fucking white guilt because y'all came and killed indigenous people from their own shit, and then y'all walk around, to walk around. Hold on, cause I wasn't talking. I let Jay talk. I let you talk. I ain't cutting nobody off. It tripped me out. Well, I did cut Jay off, but it tripped me out. Y'all, you saying no white guilt, but you motherfuckers are evil and wicked as fuck. When you walk around and say my country, you bitch ass motherfuckers stole this shit from our people. How the fuck do you not have any guilt about walking around and saying this is my country when your people slaughter and savage that? Like Jay, I think you put a video up when a dude was saying how you killed all these people off from their land and then called them savages.
Right.
Oh no!
Are you fucking kidding me?
This is what I have a biggest problem with the how they're doing this immigration process. They allow all those South Africans from another country who aren't as in dire need of refugee status as that little girl. They literally took a girl back to El Salvador that was 2 years old that needed cancer treatment. But they the biggest want to talk about, oh, we care about children and babies and lives and want to push this narrative about what is about abortion. Oh, we care about babies. It starts with conception, but you're gonna send a 2-year-old back to El Salvador with stage 3 cancer. What was it, stage 3 or stage 4? She was on her deathbed.
Lena, Op was making a really philosophical point that I was getting ready to respond to, and then you just started talking about El Salvadorians with cancer.
Right. She was actually an American citizen, and they sent a 2-year-old with cancer back versus these people that they immigrating from South America.
Red, this your people right here. This your
You
people.
don't care.
Understand? I speak your language. Good. Senator Crane has come here to offer your people a better way of life. Better than what? Better than what you have. I like what I have.
I understand that. But your people live in the Stone Age.
He doesn't understand Chief, the United States government is offering you a piece of land of your own. Did they buy it? No.
Did they trade for it?
It's not like that.
Then how can they own it? He has a point.
If you accept our offer, you won't have to hunt buffalo anymore. You can depend on your country to take care of you.
You are not my country.
We will give you everything you need if you will just submit to living on a reservation.
We need nothing from you.
Grant, if we could just... I'm done, Reverend.
That's your people, Red.
Oh yeah, the movie scene proves it. Yeah, it's not like Native American people own all the fucking casinos and trade routes in the Middle Eastern.
Dude, they own spots. These motherfuckers own an entire land. Like a piece of a continent. What are you talking about? You talking about a casino?
Yeah, because we won a 400-year war with them.
No, you did not win no 400
Yes, we did.
war with them. No, you
Okay,
didn't.
so are you telling me the Native Americans won the war?
Dude, motherfuckers.
Okay, so who won the war? The Europeans or the Native Americans? Who won the war?
So you telling me these people fought for 400 years?
No, you said
a 400-year war.
They didn't lose the war. I'm asking you, did they win the war?
Did he say 400-year war? Am I wrong or am I right? He say 400-year war. Anybody?
I said, yeah, it was a 400-year war from the
400-year war.
1800s to the 1900s.
They didn't fight no 400-year war. It's crazy. Fucking Europeans didn't fight no goddamn.
Dude, you don't understand the history of America. There was 600-year wars in this continent.
Oh God. I don't know what history books or what people been telling you about history. You do not know fucking history. That's why.
Well, I guess it's the same history books where I get my FBI crime stats from.
Yeah, they probably telling you a lie again.
I don't know what's the right amount of time, but if he should be out, he probably get those history books that said like the reason why we had a civil war because of states' rights and conflict.
Look, I bet Red Wood
You know, it's crazy because I just looked on the site that the FBI just released, and it shows everything I'm talking about, and it proves it. You know?
Okay, Red, one site, and it might be one of those ones. Like, look, you got people like you. That
No, it's the site that allows you all access to all FBI databases.
Nobody cares. Dude, we already had a conversation about the FBI. Don't nobody listen to them. Fuck you talking about?
They are the only reputable leader in U.S. crime statistics. If you have any other source, I'd be more than welcome to hear it. It's like when you say, white people are 49% of the population. Where the fuck did you get that from? Because according to the U.S. Census, white people are 75% of the population.
Y'all ain't 75% of shit. Look, Red, once again, you literally in this conversation, nothing outside of it, just this one, you're citing the government while saying the government is corrupt and lying and doing all this other voodoo shit. You're citing what they say, call them all. You said it earlier. You said anarchy. You was with Hurricane earlier. Tear down. He just lying and all. You don't trust them, but then you turn around and cite their
in individual cases like Waco and Ruby Ridge. Yeah.
You trust the FBI?
Wow.
You trust the FBI? The same FBI that put a woman, a mother, and try to say she ran the gang of a Barker gang back in the day? The same FBI who had COINTELPRO?
Well, when it comes to violent crime statistics in the United States, uncanny, and I'm 100% on board on the case of Waco, Ruby Ridge, and all the civil rights protests.
Okay, fuck Waco and all that. Are you gonna claim this? Are you gonna claim that? Wait. Are you gonna claim the same FBI who J. Edgar Hoover came out and said that the mafia did not exist?
There's more alternative evidence.
Are you going to claim the same FBI that J. Edgar Hoover said the mafia did not exist, and that's because they had video footage of him dressed as a tranny?
No, because it's not the same FBI.
The same FBI
in 1954 is not the same FBI in 20.
You know what's so funny?
The same FBI.
Y'all know what's so funny about? Y'all know so funny about people like Red. they will say the same thing y'all just called him out about the government being this and that. But then he want to separate that same government where me and Jay been saying for the last few years that they are the same penny but just different sides of that coin. You're gonna try to pick and choose when all of them play the same game that you despise. All of them do the same shit, but they got you so brainwashed in that cult that you joined now that you actually think your side is the righteous side. Like, you actually think these evil motherfuckers give a fuck about your broke ass in Detroit?
Who?
You actually think they care about you? Any side that you pick when it comes to democracy, any side that you pick,
of course not.
Then why would Jay and Kenny just said what they said? You sitting like and making excuses. Oh no, that's not the same FBI. What you talking about? What you talking about? FBI in South America?
The FBI in 1956 when J. Edgar Hoover was.
You talking about? Red. You talking about the FBI that's in Canada?
Yeah, well, I mean, the FBI is in Canada, but I'm talking about the FBI that's here.
Oh, you talking about the FBI in Australia?
What other crime statistics do we have to go off of? If your argument is that, the FBI...
But if you see it all the time, if Detroit is so bad and you see it all the time and those numbers make sense to you, why don't you just go off what your eyes show you?
I do.
Since we're so bad.
Show me, and what my eyes show
me. All right. So let me ask you this, and I'll land here with this question. Let me ask you this. If it is so true about black people, why are you around black people since it's so dangerous?
Because I'm broke.
Oh, so if you had money, you wouldn't be around black people?
Of course not.
Okay, then get your racist ass out of here then. I don't get why you around here. Like, the fuck? Get your big ass out of here, you fucking culture vulture. Oh, but you trying to use rap.
No, I'm trying. No. I don't rap for profit. I rap as a hobby. I'm not trying to.
Ray, you so ignorant. I can't even get mad at you no more. I just laugh at your stupid ass stuff. You just stupid.
And plus, the FBI just did a fake kidnapping plot like 2 or 3 years ago. So yes, it's the same FBI from the goddamn 60s. So what the fuck is this talking about?
As somebody from Michigan, I do not trust the FBI.
That's a lie. You just went to bat for them. What the fuck?
Right, you just motherfucker saying it. But
So we're not talking about the same FBI that shot up a lodge trying to kill John Dillinger, but shot up innocent people. The same FBI who claimed that the mother of the Barker gang was the leader when she wasn't, and they killed the innocent woman. I know a lot about the FBI. You're not gonna come and fucking talk that bullshit.
Right, because I do COINTELPRO motherfucking videos, bro. Shit, man, I got lives on that motherfucking FBI.
But see, again, the FBI is domestic. What about the CIA?
There were.
I got videos on the whole goddamn government and the agency on the government podcast. Let me up.
Bro, they're worse, but they're international. They're fucking with people in my countries, in South America, and Central America.
FBI is totally racist. U.S. Census Bureau, they're all racist. Everyone's a racist. 100% of the American government is trained against 13% of the population for whatever reason.
That's what
you're worse than Vlad.
Why are you committing 50% of the crime?
You're worse than DJ Vlad. You're worse than DJ Vlad. And you're this is
so why y'all commit 75% of the crimes and hide it all the time? That's what I want to know. Maybe since we got a bigot in here with us, why y'all hide all the crimes? Why y'all hide all the crimes y'all do and put it on black people? That's what I want to know.
75% of the population.
So why y'all do all the crimes and then put it on black people?
No. We should be doing 75% of all the crimes, actually, but we're not.
Y'all are. Y'all just hiding. That's why I'm asking you a question. Why inside question? Maybe you can tell us, Red, why y'all hide what y'all doing. Y'all was blaming on black people.
50, 70, 60% of the crimes. Especially if you look it up.
No, I'm saying because the Department of the Justice say 48%, almost 50% of the people that are released and falsely charged are black men. So why y'all be lying on us all the time?
That's because the majority of people that are charged in the first place are black men.
So if you take 48% of those fake fucked up charges out, what would our crime rate go to? Good question, ain't that?
Dude, you're committing 50% of return violent
I
crimes.
just see how he don't want to answer that, Jay. You see that? You see what I'm saying, Jay? What does that tell you? Choosing bias. Because I just asked you a question. If you take 48% of the black men out of that bullshit charge that you're saying that we commit those crimes, and it's 48% released because of the bullshit that was put on us, what do you think the numbers would go down to?
The numbers go down to 2% of black men that are causing all these problems.
40 is okay, so it'd just be 2%.
Yeah, well, 2% is still, 500,000 YNs causing a havoc in the streets.
No, that it wouldn't be two. No, it wouldn't be. It actually wouldn't be.
It don't even
I
matter.
thought you was good at math. I thought you was good at math. I thought you was good at math.
Look, it don't even matter, know why? Because the sad part is that would actually be less than the white folks that he don't want to say nothing else about. He won't call out nothing that they do. He won't look, and it's fine, Red. And that's why I really done came to the point where I don't care. It don't even really matter. I'm just gonna keep speaking what the fuck I'm speaking and telling the truth.
I call that disproportionality, and the only disproportionality in the white crime statistics are drunk driving.
Red, no.
Yeah, okay.
No. Y'all commit crimes, and the fucked up shit is that you don't understand is your people don't look for your people. Just like right now, you're not focused on your people and what they do. You're hyper focused on what black people are doing.
Well,
that's what they do in all these systems. That's what they do in all these systems. They doing it.
Red just sat there. No, Red just sat there and told us he hate being around us, so that's why he do what he do. He hate it. He hate the fact he a broke white that stay around black folks. That's what he hates.
Well, I hate being around people like you that always give people a hard time.
That make it a hard time.
The sad part, it ain't about Red.
Oh, you mean black people like me that don't allow white people like you to just come around and act like we stupid like the Democrat liberals do?
But yeah, because you always got to stick up your ass.
There you go. Yeah, no, because I question you versus just letting you say whatever you want to say.
Just tell him to get out your ass. And that's all black folks be
pause. Like. Exactly. Pause.
Like for real, like no Diddy, get out our ass.
You said I'm the one with a stick in my ass, but you're not listening to anything I'm saying. You trying to stick to what you're saying, so it sounds like you're the one with a stick up your ass.
What I'm saying is that there is a black disproportionality in violent crime, and you can look it up
because of y'all. Because of y'all. It's because of y'all.
Y'all the ones who put crack into
it's because of y'all.
Uncanny, that was a very good point. Thanks, Uncanny. White people in the government put crack into the black communities in the 1980s.
Y'all did. Y'all did. So if you so you're telling me, hold on, Red. So
living on the table, does that mean?
Hold on, Red. So Red. Hold on, Red. If it was reversed and y'all had but if it was reversed, like y'all said, reverse racism. Let's actually reverse it. If it was the other way around, was more of us than it was y'all. We took every way for y'all to survive away from y'all, and then we put a substance in y'all community where you could make money, and then not only that, you sneak over to our community and make the most money selling drugs to us. Y'all wouldn't take it?
Well, that's what's happening in South Africa right now.
Okay, so Red.
Well, I ain't asked you about no South Africa. I'm asking you about you. If it was reversed, you don't think y'all do the same?
It's self-interest.
So Red. So you're
all right,
saying
so I'm trying to. So it's okay. So it's okay when y'all do it, but when we do it, we wrong.
It's okay when anyone does it.
Nah.
about this crack thing. Going back to this crack thing. Where was crack first? Where did crack first? I guess you would say originated. Like, where did it first come out? What city?
Well, it first originated in Colombia, and it first propagated in New York. And from there, it spread across the whole country, and it was propagated all across South America.
Hold on, wait. So, hold on, wait, real quick. Because I don't want you to lose your point. Okay, keep in your mind next. I just gotta ask something on that real quick.
Okay.
Was it crack in Colombia or cocaine?
It was always cocaine. Colombia had always been the major kingpin in cocaine. But when crack came out, crack was initiated with the ingredients of cocaine. Therefore, Colombia had the big stronghold on it.
But it wasn't.
No, it was not crack. It was always cocaine. Y'all made that into that substance. Colombia didn't do shit. Colombia, since then to this day, still moves cocaine. They don't move crack.
They make crack in Colombia to this day, Op. What are you talking about?
They don't make
I've never seen none of that.
Yes, they
you
do.
understand me something?
It's sold to Panama. It's
They
sold to
don't make
Honduras.
crack in Colombia. Okay, so where it originated? In
That's what I was
city?
saying.
You said New York. What city? New York? You said New York? No, you're wrong. It's actually another
In
city.
the United States, that's where it originally propagated from the Puerto Rican cartel.
It was not a Puerto Rican. What city?
Puerto
was
Rican
it?
cartel.
It wasn't Puerto Ricans. What city was it?
He's taking time to look it up.
About black people, but you don't know what city it happened in. Come on, bro. Come on, they made a show. It's called Snowfall. What city was it originated in?
The first crack in Mexico.
Not
It was
Compton.
No, LA. It was in LA.
It was Oakland. It was in Oakland, bro.
Gotcha.
I'm gonna answer it for you, Red. It's in Oakland.
You're confusing crack makers with crack heads. Okay, Oakland was the first crack heads.
So what headquarters was in Oakland?
Well, there's the Black Panthers headquarters.
Why would crack come out of Oakland and in the black community if one of the headquarters is the Black Panther Party?
No, my bad. You right, Cannon. I'm thinking about that community hearing where they had the former CIA agent was actually there in Compton when he was talking about that back in the day. You right, that it was Oakland.
Yeah, it's Oakland. So Red, why would they create crack in one of the headquarters of the Black Panther Party and distribute it in that community?
Because the Black Panther Party, even as it was initially formated, they were all drug dealers. And the CIA, when they first initiated the war on drugs, it wasn't a war on drugs. It was a war on the drug trafficking industry. So the CIA was trying to take over the drug trafficking industry. And the Black Panthers...
You said the Black Panthers were all drug dealers?
No, I didn't say all of the Black Panthers were drug dealers.
What did you just say? You just basically just said that.
No, I said
you said the Black Panthers were drug dealers.
Well, if that wasn't the case, then how come all the crack flooded the black communities? You know, if the Black Panthers were these guardians of the black people, how come they allowed crack into all their communities?
The same reason why there's
bro, wait, hold on. Wait, hold on. Red, you don't know shit, boy. You just be saying shit. We talking about, hold on. Red, when would the Black Panthers start? When did they start and when did they finish?
Well, arguably, you could contest that they started in 1956, although it wasn't official. But, you know, they officially started in the 60s, in the early 60s. And they finished,
when did they end?
Politically, they ended in the late 70s. But communally, they ended in the early 90s.
Okay, so yeah, you still had people going around talking about they were Black Panthers. Officially, the Panthers was pretty much over 73, 74. Crack didn't hit into 83, but it was actually freebase, which was, well, it was 82, 83. Crack didn't officially hit to 84. So Black Panthers are not responsible for the crack coming into the community. So when you hold on, when you say what you're saying, you're being disingenuous, bro, because you're feeling that way. You just say, why would they this? Why would they that? And they're dealing with your people fighting against them all the time when they was trying to do stuff like that free lunch shit that started coming in the schools and all that. Black Panther started that shit in the community. Your people stole that shit and started putting it into the fucking schools. So, in actuality, when you say, hold on, in actuality, it was not because the Black Panthers allowed it. How can the Black Panthers stop crack when it's the police doing it and they getting everybody to back them? The police is the biggest gang in this motherfucker. What are you talking about, dog?
Black Panthers were the biggest communal gang.
But the thing,
no, they were not.
Not to cut you off. The thing,
the NAACP was bigger than the fucking Black Panthers, dog.
Not on the West Coast.
But the thing,
you're a motherfucking lie. They was the biggest black, and it's not a fucking gang organization. They was bigger than the Black Panthers. The police is the biggest fucking gang out this motherfucker. What are you talking about? But go ahead, Kenny.
The thing, Red, is that they're trying to stop another Black Messiah from happening in the 80s. That's why they did it.
Another black? So you think it's like this Jewish thing where they attack the temple?
No, motherfucker. It's like, oh my God. Nigga, you praising these motherfuckers and they motherfucker use our own people to infiltrate and kill the motherfucking leader. And they bought the drugs in. Yo, people, motherfuckers.
They have always...
Well, no, not my people. A bunch of Middle Eastern / Eastern Europeans.
No, they have always used...
The white man bought the drugs in the community. Ronald Reagan and the fucking CIA with the drugs and shit. They fucking bought this shit in. And they did the COINTELPRO.
Yeah, we know.
And they still watching us now. Like, yo.
Yep. Jay, you might be
24/7 swing shits, nigga.
But they look, bro. They always had a Judas.
It's your fault that all this shit is going on now, because when the government during the Nixon and Reagan,
it's y'all fault because y'all came across that boat and came to this land and raped and pillaged this bitch. It's y'all fault. We need to take this bitch back. I'm this close. I'm this close to saying go back to your fucking land.
Oh, it's because of the white people and the crack cocaine. Come on, man. There is a degree of human.
We're just saying that.
When a revolution comes, you gotta have a muzzle on, Red. Like you can't speak.
Red, we're just saying that your people over thousands of years have caused. Yes, your people, your white fucking people have caused genocides.
Yo, European descent, Red. What are you talking about? Your people.
Countries with no weapons to defend themselves and take it over. Like fuck that shit.
The Native Americans that live here are like what 1%.
Scottish. What genocide did the Irish people ever do?
You joking, right?
Let me tell you something. Y'all body count is bigger than the Old Testament. Let's just say that. Shit, nigga, like what the fuck y'all talking about? We got more slaves now than ever in fucking history because of this shit.
Hold on. Wait. Hold on. Red, where you say your people is from? Your ancestors?
Ireland.
Where's Ireland located?
Ireland is a island northeast of Britain.
So it's connected to Europe?
Well, it's not connected. It's kind of off the shore.
Yeah. Your people.
It's in
Europe. It's your people. Thank you.
Because we all have the same color.
Thank you.
Oh, so it's the same logic applied back to you. So it's a circular argument. Okay.
Yeah, you just said some dumb shit. You proved my point, though. Thank you. But go ahead, okay.
All right, Red, you can't even pull that argument right there because that's the thing that white folks do. And the sad part, you don't like it when the
Yeah, they separate themselves. Thank you.
Yeah, like y'all talk about all African. Like when you talk about black folks, when you talk about Africa, you talk about the whole continent. You don't even understand. There's
No,
inside
Jay,
of that.
you're the person
But
that
then when
thought
somebody talk about Europe, no,
Africa.
hold that thought, because I've been being quiet for a while. When y'all when we point out Europe, and places inside of Europe, yes, some of them didn't do certain things, some of them did. But you don't apply that same grace. You want us to apply that grace to you that you don't give to us. And it's never gonna work that way because that's what we're calling out the whole time. No, you don't. No, you don't. Because you talk about the black community. Majority of black folks don't commit crimes.
I give it to
No,
Namibians.
hold on, Red, real quick. You talk about black people all the time. We've been talking about black folks all night tonight. Majority of black people don't commit crimes. Majority of black people ain't in prison. Majority of black people actually ain't living on the goddamn street and struggling like you. But like you keep trying to make it seem like it's all of us. But then when when Op hit you with that, oh, Ireland, and then Europe, no, we're a little all to the southwest of it. Bitch, somebody want to hear that dumbass shit. You know exactly what it is.
Ireland is the second largest country over there. Ireland is the second largest motherfucker over there.
It's that do as I say, not as I do shit. Like for real, like Hurricane called it out, man. White people have killed more people on this planet than any other race of people, and y'all sit around here and talk about
That's actually not true. It's actually the Asians. The Asians, Mao Zedong killed 100 million people.
Man, the whites tricked the Asians off the gunpowder, motherfucker. Come on.
Yeah, but
y'all took something that was created as art, fireworks, and turned that shit into a deadly.
It's a gunpowder to kill us.
The most genocides on earth.
No. America owns, and this is the white America owns the greatest genocide in human history. And
No, it's not the greatest genocide in human history because there was only like 2 to 3 million black people at the time.
No, hold on. Red. What do you think I'm talking about? You think I'm talking about slavery?
What else are you talking about? I know you're not talking about Jim Crow because that was an even lower population.
About the Native Americans.
Y'all ready?
Native Americans.
Look. They got so many atrocities they forget they own. Y'all dropped a nuclear bomb twice. Dumbass.
After they surrendered, by the way.
No. They surrendered after the bombs, to be fair.
No, nigga, they surrendered before the bombs. You already know Pearl Harbor was an inside job too.
They surrendered after
God
the
is
bombs.
born as a stage shit.
Before the bombs, they were trying to invade Russia, and then America came in with the bombs, and they were like, "All right, we're done."
Hey, look, y'all see what he's doing right now? He's trying to justify that evil. He ain't gonna argue against that being a genocide. He's just gonna say, well, this and that. Well, this and that. Nah, fuck that.
Right. It took them 40 years to come back after that. It took them 40 years, and they created motherfucking Japanese anime. Now they balling.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying, Hurricane. Exactly. The Japanese are balling right now. How come the black Americans aren't balling?
Look at
because white people keeping us in the
Because of you, motherfuckers. Because of you, motherfuckers. When we hold on, real quick. Hold on, Jay. Before you sweep them under the rug. The reason why we're not is the reason why we're not is because of you, motherfucker. We bring up these historical facts of what y'all did to Tulsa, Oklahoma, what y'all did to Greenwood, what y'all did in Philadelphia, what y'all did in Atlanta, all these places that we were fucking thriving and doing our own thing, had our own Black Wall Street. Y'all motherfuckers was hating because y'all was broke and fucking poor and we was doing better than y'all and we was keeping our head down. But you motherfuckers weren't cool with that shit. And y'all let these presidents at over time tell you it's our fucking fault. That's why we're not balling like we supposed to be fucking balling, because every time we make our own economy, you bitch ass motherfuckers want to come in and hate. You got to keep watching us like you watch everybody across the world. Really, y'all motherfuckers, like Jay said earlier, y'all bitches scared that we gonna do the same shit to y'all that y'all been doing to everybody else. That's why y'all make the media the motherfucking make y'all look good when y'all ain't shit. That's why we ain't balling like we should, because you hating ass bitches, and you know we the rawest motherfuckers on this planet because you bitches keep fucking with us. You won't let us go nowhere. Like we talked about, me and Jay talked about in a private conversation. If everybody left the NBA, motherfucking NFL and all that and went to another country or some shit and made them great, you bitches would do everything you can to stop that shit like y'all doing Ice Cube. That's why we ain't balling like we supposed to, because you bitch ass motherfuckers want to tear down the stadium.
Bam! Yeah. You like that nigga off of bar? He's like, yeah.
You're goddamn right.
Message.
Like, I ain't trying to be an asshole, but like I just want to like look. That is conversation. Y'all wouldn't have any industry when it came to sports and entertainment that's worth anything. The world wouldn't give a fuck about it unless black people are around. Like that's one thing. White folks are pretty much attached.
I don't
to
give a fuck about
sports.
Period.
Dude, y'all claim here. What's the one music genre that y'all claim right now? Country, right? White folks claim country is white.
I don't claim country.
No, but white people do. You ain't got to. You can have your own opinion about different things, but you know, when it comes to the grand scheme of things, we're gonna talk about the majority. Like you was talking about the stats earlier, FBI. But white people claim country. Black people created country. Every form of music that we even have in this country comes from black folks. Sports entertainment. Y'all try to keep us out of y'all leagues, but you understood that, like, damn, the white folks gonna start going and giving them black folks money. So we might as well just let these black folks play with us. It's always a financial incentive. That's the same reason for the Civil War and shit. Y'all don't do nothing out of the goodness of your heart or morals. It's not based on no moral. And the problem is that we got so many people in America that want to deny this. Like, you might not be the person doing it, but there are people in your community that are doing it. Y'all want to tell us all the time. I ain't out here breaking the law. I ain't out here robbing people and shooting people and shit. But you want me to understand that black people out here commit crimes. Well, I'm saying it right back to you. Hey, look, motherfucker, you might not be that racist. You might not be this motherfucker that's hindering black folks, but your people are doing it. And compared to which ones we put on the totem pole, like we're gonna weigh which one weighs more, what y'all people are doing is way worse than what the fuck any black person is doing. Y'all genocide your own folks. You poison your own folks with your food, the water, the air they breathe. But you talking about black folks shooting black folks in their own community. Y'all shoot your own folks in the same community. Y'all literally are walking to that. I've seen a white cop walk into the judge's office, another white judge, and shoot him in his motherfucking office. And delete him right on the spot. We don't want to say nothing about that. That ain't gonna be national news. White kids can go and just shoot up a whole fucking school, a whole fucking church, a whole fucking grocery store, a whole motherfucking skate park. It don't matter. We ain't gonna talk about that. But if goddamn Tyrone shoot goddamn Leroy, we gotta plant that shit all over the goddamn news. Y'all are real sick with the way you play the game. And it's a sick ass way because it's an information game. And a lot of people have understood this, especially folks that have been in the military. In the Marine Corps, we had a term. We're not here to win a war. We're here to win the hearts and minds. The hearts and minds. I get you here, and I make you feel some type of way about me. I can fucking conquer you easily. It don't matter about what the fuck I'm doing. It's matter about what I can trick your ass into believing. Just like all these dumbass motherfuckers that think Trump gonna save the economy by putting tariffs on people when it's gonna raise your prices. Right. He won the hearts and minds of these dummies. They don't even understand economics. You don't understand the concept when it comes down to these racial relations. A lot of people thought just because they elected Barack Obama that we were past racial shit. Man, you crazy as hell. We done got worse. Y'all couldn't stand that motherfucker so bad that y'all amped it up. And every time this little orange motherfucker get in office, y'all just turn it up even more. This is the second time around. This ain't the first rodeo. This is not the first rodeo. We've been here before. But y'all, look, man. Look, we all gonna have our day in court. We gonna have our day in court. And I'm glad I ain't on that side. Because I'm gonna repent for my sins. I know black folks done did some fucked up shit in this world, but god damn, dude, it's not even a competition when it compares to white folks. And I ain't saying that shit to be mean. I'm not saying that shit to be mean. I'm just being honest. It is not a fucking competition. Y'all motherfuckers.
Right. Let's add the female white teachers that's smashing this on kids. These female white teachers that don't want to talk about that smashing students and shit.
Look, think about this. As soon as it got hot on red, he tried to throw it off on the Asians.
Right, on the Asians.
Yeah, that
Like, I
was
love my
crazy.
anime. How dare you?
Ally. Like in America, Asians are white folks' biggest ally. They move for Asians. When Asians start complaining, white folks move for them. Motherfucker, you throw it off on them. I would have. But the sad part, they ain't got their Negro wake up call either. They gonna get it. They gonna get it again. Cause guess what? They put y'all bitch asses in internment camps before. You don't think they won't do it again. They'll do it again, motherfucker. You be like, oh, that's a Japanese. I'm Chinese, bitch. They can't tell the difference.
Right.
And then what's so crazy, Jay? They don't like. You see how he want to separate everything, like Democrats, Republican. They still white, bro. They still white. You don't want to let y'all, you racist pieces of shit, don't want to let us separate shit. When y'all come talking like, oh, it's the black community. Black people know, no disrespect when I say this. Black people know the difference between niggas and black people. We know the fucking difference. So when white people know the difference between white trash and white people, why the fuck when y'all come and say stuff to us, you expect us to accept that it's all of us? But then when you talk about the black people that do good, then you say you should be able to do good. It's like, make up your fucking mind. Either everybody can be Michael Jordan or Oprah Winfrey, or everybody gonna be Lil Durk or Glorilla. Make up your fucking mind. You can't sit there and tell us that we all the fucking same, cut for the same fucking cloth when it comes to bad shit. But when we good, oh, it's because y'all don't want to do good. Nah, bitch. It's because y'all put us in this situation. Y'all do that with every fucking body. And y'all make excuses. No, Joe Biden, you didn't like what Joe Biden did when he was in presidency. Well, guess what? He's a European as well. Don't try to separate yourself just like Red did when I said, okay, well, where's your land from? It's over there in Europe, ain't it? Well, it's off that coast. Nah, I want to hear that shit. Just like Jay said. Well, when you talk about Africa, you put everybody in that shit. When you talk about Black Americans, you put everybody in that same shit. Don't try to separate yourself now, bitch. Stand up for your people. Stand up for your pussy ass, funky ass people the same way you've been doing. Don't try to separate it. Do the same thing to yourselves that you do to us. Bitch.
I'm let y'all get y'all thoughts in. Look, I'm let y'all get y'all thoughts in, man. Look, I ain't gonna hold them. I get tired of that shit.
Yeah, man, me too. I got an irritation meter now. Like, goddamn it.
I just don't like people being hypocritical. That's my biggest thing. Like, if you're gonna judge me on a certain level, judge yourself on that same level too. Don't put me on a different level. And that's why I say he didn't really pay attention to the video, because the video show how they treat certain people depending on what racial group they come from. And with that being in place, other things trickle down from that. Like, okay, well, you're black, we don't like blacks. Okay, well, we're gonna undervalue your property. And then when white people move away from that area because you're standing, because we obviously looking at black people like they're criminals and all this bad stuff, it brings the value down of everything. It's like it's a trickle down. It's all a circular fucking thing that they don't want to acknowledge. And I'm like, dude, I'm not saying that you, and I say this to white folks all the time, I'm not saying you the one that's doing it. But when you sit here and you fight and argue against it so adamantly, it kind of puts you in a category of those people. Because black folks have always been, in my honest opinion, been the moral compass of this country, no matter what the fuck they say. Because they didn't want a democracy or a democratic republic like they want to call it now, or which actually what it actually is. But they didn't even want to give their own white men the right to vote. Most white men couldn't vote unless they own property. So I'm like, look, y'all already discriminated against yourselves from the get-go. Then you didn't let your women vote. You didn't want to let anybody into the country and shit. We fought for that. Like, everything that y'all have established in this country that actually is of any significance is because of us.
I was gonna say something.
Go ahead.
About like the Asian, like they really do like they sometimes they ally. Like the Asian hate bill passed so quickly.
It took less than a month. It took less than a month for them to pass the anti-Asian hate bill. Anti-Asian hate crime bill.
Yup.
And it passed it because Trump was out here talking shit. That China virus.
Yes, sir. Wuhan. You saw how he did that reporter. And she's like, why you asking me that question? She was ready to jump. She ready to be here.
Like something that Chinese people had, and you see how quick white folks turn on their ass. They turned on them so quick, and they been riding. Look, that's why I be laughing at Asian folks because they be riding white folks' dick. And as soon as a virus came out, they was like, "Oh, it's Asians." That shit was fucked up, man. That look, I would never be an ally with them motherfuckers. I was like, you gonna do me like that? Like, dude, they was hunting motherfuckers down in New York and shit. Cause Trump was running his mouth saying that shit, and all them white folks was agreeing with him. Yeah, that China virus, it came from Wuhan. It's like, Jesus Christ.
And then to find out that it came from Wuhan.
Yeah. It actually did come from
Yeah, but he
Wuhan.
passed the bill.
It's
Yeah.
fucking these motherfuckers. Look, man, I'm just amazed at that, Lena. I ain't gonna lie, that's funny as fuck. But they are their number one allies. Every time it seems something pop up, Asian folks don't like black folks in America. If you are American Asian, I can tell most of y'all don't. And now I had some Asian folks that I'm in cool with. I had a girl that held me down for a while that was Asian. And like, we was cool. I don't know how Dad felt about me, but me and her was cool. But the sentiment in America, we know y'all don't like us. You know y'all don't like us, man.
Right? Because like what they did during the scamdemic, dog, had all the black folks kicked out of their shit, dog, and they couldn't even travel back to the US. Dog, just had them all fucked up and shit. I'm like, damn, nigga, that's some grimy ass shit.
I mean,
I remember that China.
Asian folks be about that money too, just like white folks, man. Look, and that's why they get along really, really good. Money over morals.
Yep, Silk Road. Look at what happened on the Silk Road.
Yeah,
for real.
Yeah, I can see them getting along good with them, but I'm like, you just gotta understand, them bitches turn their back on you real fucking quick, and that's what happened with that shit. And the sad part, it's kind of the same thing right now, but motherfuckers, you got too many people that revert back and forget what happened in the past. That's why they say if you don't know your past, you're doing to repeat it.
Yep.
And we've been having a lot of that. A lot of these same folks that keep getting fucked over keep voting and supporting motherfuckers that's fucking them over. It's like, you know, the motherfucker fucked the economy up last time. Oh, it was COVID. He was in charge of COVID.
Right. Dude told us to our face, shit is about to get worse, y'all, before it gets better. And shit never got better, but shit got a whole lot damn worse.
That motherfucker told them. That motherfucker told them dumbasses to inject bleach into their goddamn body. These people were actually calling they was calling their health departments like, can I inject bleach? I just want to double check because they ain't even really that let you know they ain't even really trust the motherfucker. But they was really calling into their health departments like, will I die if I inject bleach into my like don't.
And then Jay, don't forget the motherfucker said when C-19 came around, this bitch said it's gonna come and disappear like a miracle. And I'm like, if Obama would have said that and then all this shit would have happened, they would have blamed that on him. So since it's their leader, it was okay for him to lie to them and say, "Oh no, it's gonna disappear like a miracle." The fuck you? Oh, what?
Dude, they like a lot of them motherfuckers like that, like those family members. You see, like it don't matter what they other family member does, they gonna ride with them no matter what. Like they can touch a 5-year-old and they still got their family member back. That's those type of people. Those are those people that are on some tribalistic type shit. Cause like if somebody in my family did something fucked up, I promise you, I'm gonna call them and I'm saying you fucked up for that. If people ask me in public, like, yeah, that's fucked up. I ain't agreeing with that. I probably ain't gonna sit here and talk to you that long because I don't want a bad reflection on my family, but I ain't gonna sit here and okay the bullshit. They okay.
Nigga, my little brother is not invited to my house no more. Like, nigga, fuck that street, nigga. You want to be out there on those streets, stay out there, nigga.
Look, I ain't gonna hold you. Look, the only person in my family that I deal with is my father. That's the only person I deal with. And I got a mother, 2 sisters, and a brother. I don't deal with none of them. I got nephews and nieces. No, like it's only select few. But the only person I truly deal with is my father. It ain't no loyalty for no goddamn reason. Just because we got the same blood or we come from the same race. Like fuck all that. No, you're right, you're right, you're wrong, you're wrong. And a lot of white folks in their community, I understand you want to protect the power that y'all got. It's gonna go away. You can die on that hill, but you might want to start getting on the side of right, because like it's. God damn it, I don't know if my shit did that. Yeah, they tried to get me. But hey, yo, real quick before we get up out of here, white folks, look, y'all women turned on y'all a long time ago. That's why y'all ain't gonna be able to compete like y'all used to. Y'all used to be able to take advantage. Y'all had a population advantage. Y'all ain't gonna have that shit no more, man. Look, y'all women done said fuck that. They killing y'all babies. So look, man, look, don't do nothing. I just tell white folks, don't do nothing. Don't do nothing. Keep doing what you're doing. Keep doing what you're doing. It might work out for you. It might work out for you. Hurricane, final thoughts on the show tonight.
Great show as always. You already know what it is. We get some knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. You know what I'm saying? And the revolution is inevitable. The proper preparation prevents poor performance. You know what I'm saying? And
there you go.
And catch me at Hurricane JW2, home of the Fuck the Government podcast.
Yeah, look, we're gonna be having a lot of these conversations, these types, especially outside of the racist shit that Red broke. Because we got a presidency that's going on right now, and there's a lot of legal things that's getting challenged right now. So yeah, we definitely gonna have some more of these. But hey, sending it over to Op. I'm not saying the big part. Send it over to Op. Final thoughts on the show.
Please don't pause. Please don't. You just made that. You just made that just so disgusting real quick. No diddy. So I was glad to be able to come. I was glad to come get back on the show with my brothers tonight. I was glad to roast Compollo tonight when it came to Red. Because he be saying stupid shit all the time. Half the time, Jay, we talk about this behind the scenes all the time. I can't jump on like I want to all the time, but I got to get back more into the swing things, work on that. And it's so fucked up because Red is a great example. That's why I kept calling him a culture vote. I'm not a culture vote. Yes, you are. You know better than Adam 22 or Vlad pussy ass. You want to come around here and leech off of black people's greatness and then try to make it seem like your people so great. Yeah, y'all great at being fucking culture vultures. Y'all the vultures that come around when the corpse is dead. Y'all sit and wait until the corpse is dead to come in and leech off of it. That's what you're great at. And it's so fucked up. You got people like him that want to sit there and act like they so fucking smart, but still talking about George Floyd arrested, so talking about that was a bad example because he passed from an overdose. Not the fact that he had a motherfucker who was 6'5", 230 pounds, kneeling on his fucking neck in the road. How could you see something like that? And I'm so glad, respect to the world, because the world was like, that is some bullshit. And even though Europe is the birthplace of racism and slavery, even them motherfuckers at the point in time when black people was doing great things around the 50s, 60s, 70s, you got Rolling Stone, U2, and all of those white folks, and even going back to motherfucking what's the genius that died, Einstein.
Okay.
Einstein, all these people was like, how do you treat black people like this? And they're the greatest inception to your country, especially all the things that y'all did to them, and they still make y'all country look great. And you mean to tell me they had to find out that y'all treat your people like shit? These people are great. But you mean to fucking tell me that we supposed to respect your country? Look how you do your own people. Look how you lie to your own people. Look how you set your own people up. Look how you manipulate your own people and take advantage of your own fucking people. And then you want to talk about Trayvon Martin. Trayvon Martin was a child, man. He wasn't but 17 years old. Now explain to me how somebody could say that about him and act like he was a grown man, but then we supposed to be out here with OnlyFans models and treat them like anything they do is not wrong. So we got a 19-year-old chick, when she met Shannon Sharp, Oh, she was the victim. She out here showing that the coochie busting it wide open. She was a victim because this big strong buck. But you mean to tell me this motherfucker who wanna be white take a 17-year-old's life who did nothing wrong but go get some fucking Skittles and an Arizona tea, and he showed y'all that he wasn't shit but a wicked evil motherfucker who wanna be white when he started trying to sell autographed Skittles and fucking Arizona teas. What are we talking about, Red? Red, you a piece of shit to me. Try to be cool with you, but going back to the first time I met you on one of the lives, and Jay was like, give him grace. But we went on ahead and helped. He said we helped civilize Africans. How did you civilize our ancestors by putting them into slavery, bro? And then you told them they can't read, they can't make children, let you go ahead and breed them for slavery. How is that civilizing my people, you piece of shit? And I ain't gonna lie to you, if I would have ever met Red in person, I'd probably slap the dog shit out of his ass. I ain't gonna lie to you. Ain't no motherfucker finna be in my face talking like that, and I'm not gonna rectify this motherfucker. Believe that. Jay already know that. Jay been more pro-black than me lately, but he waking up my Malcolm in me. He waking up that Malcolm in me. Believe that, bro. Cause I'm that dude. Trust me, I have no problem straightening out a motherfucker like Red in real life. And I'm trying not to go that route. I'm trying to be a peaceful version of Malcolm X. I'm trying to be the intelligent Tupac. But I have no problem going back to thug life, bro. I have no problem going back to thug life, especially when it comes to my motherfucking people who I love so much. I love all of God's children. But when it comes to that devil, I have no problem being Michael the Archangel. I have no problem doing that. Believe it. But at the same time, this was a good show, always. You know, Jay, I gotta jump on more to hold you down. Hurricane, you my brother, been my brother for the longest. You know what I'm saying? Since 2020.
You the reason why I'm over here, bro. You the reason why I'm even over here.
I know. I don't know what's going on with our other, brothers like that. I don't be seeing his stuff no more. I don't know why. I don't be getting no alerts or nothing like that. But shout out to Low Key because he helped, bring that together. I gotta see what's going on with the other brothers. Shout out to Low Key. Shout out to John Horse. You know what I'm saying? So I'm glad Hurricane, you still been popping up, showing around, because you know what I'm saying. I need that. The what used to be called the Get to It podcast or something like that.
Yeah, I think it was the Straight to It podcast. Yeah.
Straight to It. Yeah. So I'm glad you still around, bro. We gotta keep doing this thing. So I'm gonna land it there. I ain't gonna keep going, but it was a good show tonight.
Yeah. Sure. Great show.
Well, guess what? And I like both of y'all final thoughts, man. Look, man, I'm just gonna refer back to the video. Like, look, man, pay attention to what the lady said, man. It's not one thing that creates this entire situation. It's all these mechanisms that they have, y'all. They got multiple mechanisms that perpetuate this shit. Media, policing, housing, jobs, everything all plays a part. It's one big ass fucking wheel and it's rolling together. And to think that it's anything different, it's just crazy. Look, I just think it's the dumbest thing in the world and the craziest argument in the world to say that the people that helped build this country, if not built it themselves with their labor, are the laziest people in this country right now. That makes absolutely no sense. It makes none. But hopefully some people will actually take the information in that was given. We didn't give it. We gave our opinions about things, but we had college professors giving data. Hopefully you can listen to them, because I know y'all don't give a fuck what the fuck we say. But hopefully we can change your mind one person at a time, because we ain't gonna change all of them. Like, some of them just gonna look. I gotta say it. And I swear I need to make these shirts. If YouTube monetize me tomorrow, look, I'm gonna start. I promise you, I'm gonna make these shirts. But I'm gonna make them. Everybody's not gonna make the boat. We can't try to save everybody. So for all the folks that want to be like Red and have that mindset and that thinking, man, do your thing, man. I mean, ain't gonna be mad at you. You just not gonna make the boat, bitch. When that water come in here, look, I'm just gonna pull the fucking door up. You're not gonna get on this motherfucker, bro. Like it is.
Like, pull
what
it
is. Yep, pull it up. Let's go. Everybody not gonna make the boat, but I appreciate everybody that tuned in tonight, man. Hit that like, hit that subscribe, share the videos, and turn them notices on. Check your notices, man, because YouTube will turn them off, and make sure you click all for every time we dropping something. And we'll be right back here again later today, I guess, because I can't say tomorrow. It's about to be 1 fucking o'clock where I'm at. But
it's 2 o'clock where I'm at. 2 o'clock in Detroit.
Yeah, we've been out here grinding. But look, y'all, we gonna catch y'all in the next one as always, man.
All right, sure.
Don't tell me about me. Stop telling 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 me about me. I don't need you to tell me about me.